Hey, Jethro. Where is everybody?
Well, Granny's checking her company victuals, but Jethro's out front hanging up the welcome sign.
Dad! Did he come? Is the mayor here yet?
No, but it's pretty near time. Let's go out front and be ready.
Well, I got a special surprise I'm working on. You call me when the mayor drives up.
Oh, Jed, I just can't believe that the great man will be right here, under our own roof. I'm as nervous as a grasshopper in the hen house.
I'm a mite shaky myself. It ain't everybody can say, the mayor of Bug Tussle slept here.
Come on out where you can see the banner I made. It's dandy.
What's this here?
I did. You said we ought to roll out the red carpet for the mayor.
Where'd you get it?
I ripped it out of the upstairs hallway.
Why, Dad?
Boy meant well.
Looky, yonder's my banner.
Welcome, Hog.
Oh, yeah, that's his name, Mayor Hogg.
It's spelled with 2 G's.
The most honored name in the hills.
Okay, I'll change it.
Maybe it'd read better if you put mayor in front of Hog.
All right, I'll get right at it.
Oh, there ain't time. He's turning in the gate.
I sure would hate for him to see that sign.
I got another one that's a special welcome from me. If I wave it, maybe he won't notice the big one.
It needs fixing, too. It reads like you're welcoming yourself. Why, it's Mr. Drysdale. We didn't recognize you in your new car.
Pretty snazzy, eh?
Yeah. Now, get it out of the way so the mayor can drive up.
Miss Holloway, move the car.
Right, Chief.
I'm here to welcome your distinguished guest, the mayor of Bugwist.
Bug Tussle.
Yes, of course, and I'm greatly honored.
You bet you are. You're going to be shaking hands with the greatest hog in the hills.
Mr. Clampett, tell me more about this Mayor Hogg.
Amos Wentworth Hogg, a born leader of men.
Greatest speech maker you ever did hear.
Oh, he's a spellbinder. When he gets through talking, you just beg to have your taxes raised.
Never lost an election.
Won them all by a landslide.
And he's a personal friend of yours, eh?
Well, no, we couldn't claim that.
I met him at a Women for Hog rally.
I shook hands with him a couple of times after speeches, but it'd be bragging to say we was personal friends.
Hey, everybody, it's the mayor. I see him a-coming.
Ellie Mae!
Come on down, boy.
Does he have a motorcycle escort?
Wouldn't be surprised. He's an important man.
He's coming in the gate.
That's the Bug Tussle official car.
My friends, I bring you greetings from the good people of Bug Tussle, from which I came. Now, they was worried about me making this trip, but I said to them, there's nothing to be afraid of but being afraid itself. I shall return, and government of the people, by the people, and for the people shall not perish from Bug Tussle.
That man sure does things with words, don't he?
Yes, he steals them.
Mayor, Your Honor, sir, I hope you remember Jed Clampett.
Of course I do. Good to see you again, Mr. Clampett.
Yeah, I'm Milburn Drysdale. This is Mr. Clampett.
You see, the mayor never seen much of me. I reckon it's Granny he remembers.
That's right. Good to see you, Granny.
No, I'm Jane Hathaway. That's Granny.
Nice to see you.
When a great man like him meets so many important people, you can't expect him to remember a bunch of sorghum lappers like us.
Mr. Mayor, Your Honor, sir, can I have the privilege of toting your bag upstairs?
Why, of course you can. By the way, you won't have to vote.
Pardon here.
Fine lad, and a credit to your upbringing. I once said in a speech, as the twig is bent, so is the tree inclined.
Honor, you do have a silver tongue. Now, if you lead the way, we'll all sit down to victuals at the fancy eating table.
Oh, well, let me go in first so as I can get my special surprise ready.
You'll stay to victuals.
Oh, of course. It's not every day you can sit at the table with a hog. Get it? Amos Hogg. A hog.
Mr. Drysdale, I think I'd best warn you. The mayor is a mite sensitive about his name. After 12 campaigns full of name-calling, he can hardly stand a side of bacon.
Come on, Luther.
Ellie Mae Clampett, you know I can't abide no hog in my house. Here. What are you young'uns doing with the mayor's official car?
Well, he told us we could drive it, Granny.
Yeah, said we could take it down to the gas station and fill her up.
Sure was fun.
Oh, that Mayor Hogg, always thinking of others. With that one little act of kindness, he filled their hearts with joy.
And his tank with gas.
Great man, Granny, great man. A sure-born leader.
Come on, Granny. Hop aboard.
Do you think the mayor would mind?
A man who cares about nothing but others? Why, he'd be delighted.
Oh, my. I feel just like the first lady of Bug Tussle.
Hey, you can crank the siren, Granny.
Ring the bell, Jethro.
Really, Chief? It's bad enough to let the Clampetts be deluded by that phrase-stealing phony, but to encourage Jethro to emulate him, to make him a hero.
Now, listen, I believe in telling people what they want to hear. And Jed Clampett wants to hear that Hogg is a hero.
But you must follow your own principles.
I do. My guiding light has always been that ancient Spanish proverb, vaya con dinero, go with the money. And here's another one. No haga olas. Don't make waves.
All right, you young'uns wait here. We'll be back quick as we give Mrs. Drysdale the good news.
Everything's all right, Chief. It isn't the police. The bank isn't being robbed.
Oh, thank goodness. What was that siren?
Just Mayor Hogg and the Clampetts in the Bug Tussle official car.
Well, the old duffer's back for another helping of Drysdale charm before he leaves.
If I may suggest...
You may listen and learn. That's what you may do. Success is knowing how to handle people. And you are studying under the old professor. Yes, tell the senator we'll all get together on the mayor's next trip out. Yes, I'm sorry, too. Goodbye, Governor. Oh, Mayor Hogg, I was just giving the governor the bad news that you have to return to Bug Tussle without seeing him.
Well, call him right back and give him some good news. We just talked the mayor into staying on.
You did?
Now you can do all them things you talked about at the dinner table. Having a party with the movie stars and them political bigwigs.
Giving him the key to the city?
A parade down Wilshire Boulevard.
Putting him on the TV?
Now, I'm just a simple man of the people. Just a little get-together with the governor, a few mayors and senators, and some movie stars, plenty for me.
Ain't that just like a great man?
Yes. I wonder if I might speak to the great man alone.
Sure thing.
Excuse us, Miss Hathaway.
Of course, old professor.
Mayor Hogg, I'm afraid I have something to confess.
I always said an honest confession is good for the soul.
Brilliant. I must write that down.
Never mind. Let me hear it.
Well, what I said about being close to the governor and the senator, well, I'm afraid I was bragging a little just to impress Mr. Clampett.
I always said pride goeth before a fall.
Oh, such wisdom. If you don't mind, I am going to make a few notes.
Now, Mr. Drysdale, what it all boils down to is that you've made some promises you can't keep.
Exactly. And I can't afford to have Jed Clampett find out.
I understand now. I have a little saying. You scratch my back and I'll scratch yours.
It's a deal. Where's your itch?
In the pocketbook. It seems that Bug Tussle's in a little financial difficulty.
Oh?
Just this past Monday, it come to light that 5 high-placed officials was guilty of mismanaging funds.
Shocking. And who were they?
Tax assessor, the treasurer, fire chief, police chief, justice of the peace. The purpose of my coming out here was to raise money to cover those mistakes and avoid a public scandal.
Oh, that's highly commendable. But why don't you expose them?
I happen to hold all 5 offices.
And then there was the year that Fred Tyler run agin him. And old Mayor Hogg came up with a dandy. Tippecanoe and Tyler, too. Say, Jed, did anyone ever figure out what that meant?
Oh, but it sure caught on. Had a dandy ring to it.
And then there was the year...
Granny, we could go on forever about the mayor, but we've bent Miss Jane's ear long enough. When the things that man said would fill a book.
True, and I think he's got it.
That's what everybody says. Amos Hogg has got it.
I've tried to ask Mr. Clampett for the money, but I just can't bring myself to do it.
How much money are we talking about?
You see, to them, I've always been a hero.
How much?
A knight in shining armor.
How much?
About 100,000.
You'll be a knight in rusty armor before you get 100,000 out of me.
You could call it a campaign contribution.
Forget it.
I'm a shoe-in winner with my new ID. I'm declaring war on poverty.
Goodbye, Your Honor.
Suppose I give you a note signed by the mayor and 5 top of I just can't ask Mr. Clampett for the money. Now, what am I going to do?
You made your bed. Lie in it.
Say, that's a good one. Will you write that down for me?
Well, you two get your talking done?
You bet.
Well, not quite. We'll talk some more at that big party Mr. Drysdale's going to give with the governor and senators and all.
That ain't gonna be too much trouble, Mr. Drysdale?
Well,
Oh, of course not. I say he made the bed. He ought to want to lie in it.
Hear that? The mayor just come up with another dandy. Oh, Your Honor, I just can't tell you what a thrill it was a sitting up there beside you on your official car.
Granny says it makes her feel like the first lady of Bug Tussle.
Hey, you'll embarrass your granny and the mayor, too.
You dumb old girl. Mr. Mayor, how about you and me going inside and having some cold hog joust?
I'm sorry, Your Honor.
To err is human. To forgive, divine.
Did you hear that, Jed?
Beautiful. Just beautiful.
You're a great man, Your Honor.
Please, call me Amos.
Oh, Your Honor. I mean Amos. Come on inside and I'll light the fire in the parlor.
I'll come in just as soon as I have a talk with Mr. Clampett.
You want to talk with me, Mr. Mayor, Your Honor, sir?
No, please, let's just make it Amos and Judd.
Jed.
Sit down. I reckon you're wondering why I came out here. Why? I said to myself, go west, Amos Hogg, go west.
Granny and me kind of figured that you had your eyes on the big job back in Washington.
Me? No, I do not choose to run for president. If nominated, I will not accept. If elected, I will not serve.
Yeah, well, I'm glad to hear that you're going to stick with Bug Tussle, but why'd you come out to California?
Jed, I'm going to have to ask you for something, and it comes hard.
Shucks, I'm honored to think that you'd come to me. What is it?
As you know, I've devoted my whole life to serving the people of my community, not just as mayor, but as tax assessor, treasurer, police chief, fire chief, and justice of the peace.
Bug Tussle owes you a lot.
Yes. And I owe a lot to Bug Tussle.
It seems to me that the scales is tipped in your favor. Why, you never even took time out to have yourself a wife and family?
I'm a lonely old man coming into the twilight years of a life lived with malice toward none and Charity for all.
Well, just tell me what I can do.
Ted, I've carried the burden alone as long as I can. Now, I need a helping hand. I need...
Hey, y'all come on in. Granny says she ain't gonna serve victuals till the mayor sits in front of the fireplace and has a glass of her elderberry wine.
Well, you tell Granny we'll be in directly. The mayor's just on the edge of asking me something.
Oh, all right, go ahead.
Perhaps a drop of Granny's elderberry wine will give me the courage I need. These are times to try men's souls.
Hot dog. Let's see.
On your cul-de-sac for a measure.
I have City Hall on. Hello, Mayor. This is Milburn Drysdale, president of the Commerce Bank of Beverly Hills. Yes, look, we have a visiting dignitary in town, and he's mayor of one of our Midwestern cities. Now, I was wondering if you could present him with the keys to the... No, not Chicago. Well, if you could present him with the keys to the city... No, not Kansas City. No, not St. Louis. Well, it's called Bug Tussle. Yes, and it's a nice... Hello. Where does he get off?
Chief, the mayor of Los Angeles is a busy man.
That was the mayor of Poison Well, Nevada. I've run out of California cities.
We're not having much luck with the governor either.
Have you reminded his office of my campaign contribution?
Yes, they thought the 25 cents was for a bumper sticker.
See, maybe they haven't heard the election results back in Bug Tussle. See if you can get me the loser. Send him a quarter, too.
Can Ellie and me go over a ride on the fire engine now?
Yeah, I want Ellie to finish clearing the table.
Jethro, you keep the mayor company. And listen to him while he's talking. You might learn something.
The greatest. Them things that he said about his war on poverty. He was going to make sure that every man got more than $50 a year.
And he just made up a brand new slogan. 54-40 a fire.
I wish this would have happened when I was a young widder. I might have had a chance of being the first lady of Bug Tussle.
Granny, this may be telling tales out of school, but wasn't politics that brought the mayor out here.
What you mean?
He just tried to ask me something, and he couldn't find the words.
Amos Hogg?
Tongue-tied as a lovesick schoolboy.
Lovesick? Jed, you don't mean
I sure do.
you're greening me.
He done everything but come right out and ask for your hand.
Oh!
Are you all right?
It's the dream of every woman in the hills to be the first lady of Bug Tussle.
We could buy 2 or 3 fire trucks if Granny was first lady. Hook and ladder, pumper, big red convertible for the fire chief. That'd be me. Mayor Hogg? Hey, Mayor Hogg. I say we could have a real fire department with Granny's money.
Money? Granny has money?
Well, yeah. Not as much as Uncle Jed, but it comes to better than $15 million.
Dollars?
Well, heck yeah. And it'd all be yours if you marry her.
Marry her? How much you say?
15 million.
15 million? Why, with that kind of money, I could build a whole new town. Hog City!
Can I be fire chief?
Oh, Mayor, about that talk we was having, maybe if you spoke to Granny...
I was on my way to the kitchen for that very purpose.
Oh, Amos.
Let's go, Jethro.
But Uncle Jed, I want to listen and see if I'm going to be fire chief. But Uncle Jed.
Sit down, Granny. It's a long, long time from May to December. And the days grow short when you reach September. The autumn weather turns the leaves to flame. And I haven't got time for the waiting game.
You ain't got time.
Oh, howdy, Mr. Drysdale.
Jethro?
How's the mayor's big party coming?
Instead of a party, I'm giving him this.
That looks like a check.
Yes. Where is it?
Oh, he's in the parlor proposing to Granny.
What?
Well, yeah, then we's all going to Bug Tussle, and I'm going to be fire chief.
Who was that at the door, Jethro.
Oh, that was Mr. Drysdale. He went in the parlor to talk to the mayor.
Jethro, you shouldn't have let...
Amos!
Goodbye, goodbye. Pardon is such sweet sorrow that I would say goodbye till it be morrow.
Granny, he's getting away.
Bug Tussle needs it more than I do, Jed. Besides, did you hear what he said as he was going out the door?
Pardon being such sweet sorrow?
Yeah, poor fella. The silver-tongued orator finally run dry.
What do you suppose she wants?
Well, it ain't time for vittles.
Let's find out.
Hey, Uncle Jed, it's that time of year. Maybe she wants to give us a tonic.
Maybe, maybe not.
Hey, I'll bet that's it. She wants to dose us.
So, who's afraid of a little sulfur and molasses? Me.
Everybody in the parlor.
He's here, Granny.
I suppose you're all wondering why I asked you here today.
I ain't.
Hush up. As you know, I've been a doctor in the service of mankind for nigh on to 70 years now.
That's right, Granny.
I'll say.
70 years of healing and giving of myself, bringing babies into the world, setting bones, mixing medicine, curing colds, making poultices, healing warts, rheumatiz, summer complaints, chilblains, hives.
Folks is mighty grateful to you, Granny.
Jed, Jethro, Nellie Mae, I'm giving up my practice of medicine. I'm taking in my shingle.
Hot dog! No more sulfur and molasses.
Granny, how come you want to quit doctoring?
Can't tell you, Jed. I just know I gotta do it.
Well, who's going to take care of us?
I thought of that. Sit down. I may have to go back home, but I just can't leave you in this miserable city of Beverly Hills without one single trained doctor.
Hey, there's more doctors here than you can shake a stick at.
Oh, I've decided to train one of you to carry on the traditions of the hypocrite's oath.
Well, don't keep looking at me, Granny. I decided I don't want to be a brain surgeon. I want to be a soda jerk.
And I want to be a better take care of critters.
The choice is yours to make.
Thank you, Granny.
Yeah, thanks, Gran.
And the choice is to learn doctrine or get took to the woodshed.
But, Granny,
Never mind what Granny.
Right, Dame.
Hello, Mr. Clampett.
How do you do, Clampett?
Howdy, Miss Jean.
What can I do for you?
Well, it's about Granny and her doctoring.
Shh, not so loud.
Is Granny practicing again?
Well, no, that's what I want to talk to you about. She's giving it up.
Oh, that's a shame. We're going to miss her stump water and slippery almoos and all those other wonderful medicines.
Yes, but after all those years of service, she does deserve a rest.
Well, that ain't what she's going home for.
Going home? You mean back to the hills?
Yeah, she's wanting to take her share of the money.
Money? She can't think of all those millions of people out here that need her.
Well, they ain't exactly been breaking down the door. Anyway, she wants to go home and go into research.
Research?
Yeah, she wants to devote the rest of her life to finding a cure for freckles.
Cure for what?
Freckles. Oh, I reckon that ain't the real reason, but that's all I could get her to say.
Well, surely something can be done to keep her here.
I don't know what. Her mind is set. Quick as one of the young'uns learns enough doctoring to take over, she's gone. So I just come over to give you a little head start to getting her share of the money together. Jethro, Seifert had come to about 16 million. No! Oh, one good thing. I did talk her out of taking it all home in silver.
Wonderful.
She'll settle for gold dust.
Granny goes. Mr. Clampett will soon follow. Research? Freckle cure? Why could she be going?
If I may offer an unemotional analysis based on my first-hand objective observation...
Just spit it out.
I think this has been brought on by her having no one to doctor. She misses feeling useful and needed.
Yes, that's probably it. Well, why didn't you do something?
Chief, I could hardly be expected to solicit patients for an unlicensed granny doctor.
Wait a minute. We still have a chance. She would never run out on a sick friend.
Chief, I could never deceive Granny with a fake illness.
Who's talking about a fake? I'm only asking you to take a mild poison or break a bone or something. Look, I could drop this on your foot. Isn't your company loyalty good for one little fracture? Barley's, please, Miss Hathaway. Oh, it's warm in here. Better turn up the air conditioning.
Oh, Chief, please, no more.
Why not? Well, don't tell me you're cold.
I'm freezing. I'm going to get pneumonia.
Oh, good girl. And when you do, I know just the doctor for you to get you right in. No waiting.
Dr. Clyburn.
What are you running here, a frozen food locker?
Oh, boy.
Why have you got it so cold, Milburn?
Cold? Well, what makes you think it's cold?
Well, for one thing, that. Now turn it off.
Oh, all right.
This girl's probably suffering from exposure.
Get your feet-grabbing hands off her. She already has a doctor.
All right, then what did he get me over here for?
Come into my office.
Are you kidding? You want me to go up and ask Granny for advice on how to practice medicine? Even among witch doctors, she's a quack.
I'm not asking you to follow the advice. Just listen to her. Make her feel important and needed.
You've spent too much time in that cold office. You've got frostbite of the brain.
Roy, she'll go back to the hills.
I would love nothing better. I've had too many run-ins with that unlicensed, untrained queen of the voodoos. Goodbye, Milburn.
Roy, I'm begging you.
Forget it.
All right. But I can't forget the sick and suffering you're depriving of a bed in the Clyburn Charity Clinic.
Who charity clinic?
If you help me, I can arrange for Jed Clampett to donate the entire $8 million you need, and he won't care what you name the clinic.
That means it would be completed 1 year sooner. No, not with Granny. No. Oh, I'll do it. But I'm only doing it so the sick and needy will get help that much sooner. Don't think it's so I can call it the Clyburn Charity Clinic. Of course, it does have a nice ring to it.
Jed, please come back and help me. I've got a lot to learn, them young'uns, Jed.
Granny, once and for all, I want you to tell the truth why you're quitting doctoring and going back to the hill.
Well, I got a lot of research to do, and they got everything I need back there.
You don't give two shucks about curing freckles.
No, but there's something I gotta work on.
What?
Don't make me tell you.
Granny?
All right. I gotta discover a cure for a brand new ailment.
How come?
'Cause I think I got it.
You do?
It ain't in none of the books, so I get to name it. I'm calling it Granny's Complaint.
How long you had it?
Well, I first noticed it about 20 years ago. And I've been going downhill ever since.
You should have said something. What's the symptom?
Well, to start off with, my hearing ain't what it used to be. And my eyes is getting weaker. My rheumatism is worse, and I can't run as fast as I used to. I get chilled easier. And my joints are stiff in the morning.
Granny, all them things is happening to me, too.
It's catching.
Of course it's catching. It's old age.
Not old age. It's Granny's Complaint. I discovered it, I get to name it.
Call it what you want to. It's nothing more than getting on in years.
Jed, you've always had a good head on you, but leave the diagnosing to us medical people.
Funny, the last time I felt like this was just before they landed us at Guadalcanal. How do you do, Mr. Clampett?
Dr. Clyburn, this is a surprise.
I suppose it is. I came to see Granny.
Oh, well, I don't know. She ain't in one of her very best moods, and at best, you two get along about as good as two dogs with only one bone.
I didn't come to fight with her, Mr. Clampett. I came to ask her advice.
Yeah, well, I'm afraid that, Ask her what?
I need some medical advice.
Oh, well, that's different. I'll tell her. You better wait out here until I talk to her. Sometimes Granny starts shooting before she finds out what flag you're flying.
I thought I heard you talking out there.
You did, and you will never guess who's waiting outside to see you.
Who?
Dr. Clyburn.
Clyburn! Oh, he's after me. That gourd-headed city sawbones. Keep him out on the porch. I'll go upstairs and drop my chest of drawers on him.
Oh, Granny, he's here to ask your advice.
In a pig's eye, it's a trick.
No, he's standing out there humble as a skinny mule.
All right. But one wrong move out of him and he's gonna have a nose full of knuckles.
Come in, Dr. Clyburn. Here's Granny.
Hello, Granny.
Howdy. Now, state your business. I'm in a hurry.
Granny, I realized this morning that I have been too hasty in not taking advantage of having close at hand one with such great experience and knowledge.
Go on.
So I've come over hoping to spend some time with you and get some general medical advice.
The dickens, you say. Did you hear that yet?
I got to admire you, Doctor.
What for? You should have been here 4 years ago. Now I ain't got time to mess with him.
You don't?
No. I gotta go back to the hills.
Oh, please don't go, Granny. This means an awful lot to me.
Well, you are some kind of a doctor, and my oath says that I gotta help you out if I can. So I guess I can spare you a little time.
Thank you, Granny.
Dr. Granny?
Dr. Granny.
Just what is it you want to know?
I'm not quite sure yet.
All right, I'll see what you're lacking. How do you treat spotted gimple?
Spotted Gimple?
Well, what do you do with purple drowsies? How about critic, bloat, angry gizzard, dredge the goose eye?
Perhaps I know them by their scientific names.
Them is the scientific name.
You better sort of start from scratch.
Maybe I'd better.
I ain't got time for private tutoring. You'll have to go in the class with Jethro and Ellie Mae. Go on upstairs, third door to the right, and sit in the back of the class.
Where you going, Miss Hathaway?
Chief, it's 110 in here. If you won't let me turn the heat down, I'm leaving.
Not until your coffee break.
I'm suffering from heat exhaustion.
Oh, that's awful. Now, come on, I'll take you right up to Dr. Granny.
Give up. You can't get me sick enough to go to her for treatment.
Why not? Nothing possibly can happen to you. Dr. Clyburn is up there.
It's for charity. $8 million. Charity. $8 million.
Now we're going to take up anatomy. Pay attention. About here is your gizzard.
Granny, you know it's against the law to set up your still in Beverly Hills?
It's against the law to make corn squeezers. This is my granny's complaint cure.
Granny, I told you everybody's going to have Granny's complaint along about age 65.
That's why I ain't taking the time to go home to find a cure. Case is an epidemic.
While you're at it, I found 2 more symptoms.
You have?
Yeah, gray hair and wrinkles.
It ain't old age. I told you that. And the whole world's gonna thank me when I find a cure.
Well, leastways, I'm glad you give up trying to train the young'uns to take over for you.
Well, it would have took too long to learn Ellie and Jethro.
That's right.
That's why I picked Dr. Clyburn.
What'd he have to say on it?
Well, I was just about to go tell him. He's in the kitchen, learning to make my skunk root dyspepsy potion. Dr. Clyburn, Roy,
Oh, hello, Granny. Dr. Granny.
I got some good news for you.
Good news?
I've been watching you, and I decided that you're the one to take over my practice.
Your practice?
This here is my patient file. Take good care of them.
Oh, but
Don't thank me. Just take it.
You have this many patients?
Well, to tell the truth, I ain't caught on too well out here. Jed, Jethro, Ellie Mae. That's about it.
Granny, why are you doing this?
I suppose I'll have to tell you. Sit down. Now keep this a secret. I ain't as well as I look.
What's wrong with you?
It don't matter. What matters is I got to find a cure for it.
Well, if you tell me about it, I'm sure I can help you.
Roy, you've got talent. But for a young fella, you're awful cocky. Over that fire out yonder, I got cooking every root, berry, powder, potion, known to medical science. How are you going to beat that?
Well, for one thing, have you tried penicillin?
Penicillin? What's that?
It's a drug. We get it from bread mold.
Roy, you've got to forget them home remedies.
It is not a home remedy. Haven't you heard of streptomycin, aureomycin, cortisone?
Roy, you come to me for advice, and I'm giving it to you. Forget them quack medicines. Stick with modern science. Your stump waters, your slippery elm ooze, cocoon root, and them wonder drugs like sassafras and wahoo bark.
All right, Granny. You know best.
Oh, the dyspepsy medicine. You done ruined the potion.
I mix everything in there you told me. I put the lid on the kettle.
On the kettle it should be in it. This pewter takes the bite out of the mixture. Too late. It's done turned.
This will never work. Everyone will know you're faking.
What else am I going to do? You let me down. I can't depend on Clyburn to keep her here.
I categorically deny
Now,
that
don't
I have...
start that again. Just drive back and try to round up some sick people for Granny. If you have to, hit a couple of pedestrians.
I'll get it, Ellie.
What is it?
Mr. Drysdale.
What's wrong with you?
I'm not sure. Is Dr. Granny here?
Well, I think she's out back. I'll run and fetch her.
We know a heap of doctoring after this morning. Let's surprise Granny and give him a little of that there first aid.
Annie, where's Dr. Clyburn? I just come from the kitchen. He ain't there.
I told him to pack his little black bag and move along. I ain't got no more time to mess with him.
I thought he was the one going to take over your practice.
I couldn't trust my family to a superstitious quack like him. Why, his favorite medicine is moldy bread.
Still be living in the dark ages. Whatever it is you're cooking here, it sure is putting out the fumes.
It's my first try at a cure, Jed. Dripping through over yonder. 30 or 40 more batches, and I may have found what's going to rid the world of Granny's complaint.
Well, even if you don't, you have hit upon a surefire way of taking the leaves off trees.
What are you going to do with me? Where's Dr. Granny?
Take it easy, Mr. Drysdale. You're going to be just fine.
All right now, nurse.
Find your nurse.
Look, I'll be the doctor today, and tomorrow you can have a turn. All right, now, I prescribe a great big dopper of sulfur and molasses. I'll get that. You go on down and heat up some of that crow soup. Now, you stay right there, Mr. Drysdale. We'll be right back. Oh, howdy, Dr. Clyburn. Go on in and see how we fix Mr. Drysdale.
You mean Milburn Drysdale is in there?
Oh, yes, sir. And if you don't mind, we took the case.
Milburn, do you know what you got me into?
Don't tell me your troubles. Look what I've gotten myself into.
And it's all for nothing. Granny is not going back to the hills.
She's not?
No, so that'll be $8 million.
Later. Help me get out of this before Granny sees me.
All right, now what about my $8 million?
Come on, we'll take your car.
Remember, Jethro, tomorrow you're the nurse.
Well, why don't we trade off every other week? I'm getting to like this doctor and stuff.
What's the matter, Granny?
Jed, I found the cure, and on the first batch, I've cured Granny's complaint.
Granny, there ain't no cure for Granny's complaint.
There is now. It took care of all of my symptoms. I'm even seeing twice as good as I ever did before.
Twice as far?
Twice as many. There's two of everything. I'm even hearing bells I never did hear ring before.
There ain't no bells ringing.
That's because you ain't had none of my cure. The pains have all gone out of my joints. Instead of chills, I got a nice, warm feeling all over. My rheumatiz has plumb disappeared. I feel like a young'un again.
Too bad. Come morning, she's in for one humdinger of a relapse.
Dad blame Beverly Hills. There ain't a possum shank to be bought around here at any price. What good is having $68 million? I ask you.
Well, this morning, it's good for getting a lot of paper signed for Mr. Drysdale.
You was doing that when I left here 2 hours ago.
Oh, I signed 10 or 12 since then.
You got all them to go yet?
I'm just glad I don't have to read them.
The money's a curse, Jed. It's a curse. If you didn't have it, you wouldn't be needing to do all of this. We'd be living where there was possums aplenty, and the young'uns wouldn't be so spoiled that they was...
Hello? Oh, Jethro, where are you calling from?
Try and guess. No? No? I guess again.
Jethro, where are you calling from? What? I'll be right there. Come on, Granny.
Hello, operator. This here's Jethro Bodine. I just gonna let you folks know that I got a telephone in my truck now. I rigged it myself.
He's put a phone in the truck.
Yeah, with an unlisted number.
Not foolishness. He's got too much time and money on his hands.
Bye, operator. How about this?
What are you up to?
Uncle Jed, I figure it's about time we start acting like rich folks. Heck, every millionaire's got a phone in his car. Now, you stay right here. I'll phone you from Wilshire Boulevard.
I tell you, Jed, that boy is round the bend.
I don't know. Making a phone work from a truck takes a heap of smarts.
He's connected to the house.
Yeah, I hope he's keeping count of how much wire he's got. Here's he misfigured a mite.
Now you see what comes from having too much money. Millionaires, phones in the car. His rope has slipped. It's pulling.
Dear sir, it gives me great pleasure to inform you that the Clampett account has now reached the amount of $68,415,000. Signed, very truly yours, etc., etc. Now, who shall I send it to?
To me. I love getting good news in the mail.
Oh, pardon me. I'm Virginia Jennings from UCLA. I wondered if I might see Mr. Drysdale.
Well, he...
Come in, come in. My door is always open to American youth. Oh, this is Miss Hathaway. How may I help you, my dear?
Well, I'm president of the Philosophy Society at the university, and we have voted to make you an honorary member.
Well, this is a surprise, eh, Miss Hathaway?
Yes, congratulations, Chief.
Because of his generous and humanitarian ways, the Friends of Plato do hereby appoint Milburn Drysdale an honorary fellow.
Thank you. You know, I've always been a devotee of the great philosophers. Rockefeller, Morgan, Rothschild, Getty.
Yes. Well, now that you're a member of the FOP, I know you'll want to participate in our current project.
Certainly, certainly. What is it?
We're trying to raise funds to help a number of impoverished students finish their education.
What a wonderful idea. Who are they?
Well, I'm one. The other two girls are waiting outside.
Say, that's very clever of you.
Then we can count on your support?
Of course, you have my blessing.
We were hoping for something a little more tangible.
Like money?
Frankly, yes.
Say no more. Here at the Commerce Bank, we're always ready to help out needy students. Help her out, Miss Hathaway.
But it would only be a small loan for a few luxuries, you know, food, shelter, clothing.
Out! And tell your buddy Plato not to come begging around here either.
You just know softy, Chief.
Boy, I hope she gets a loan. I'm starving. Oh, if only we were food economic majors. We'd have some homework to eat. Jenny, that happy, radiant look on your face can only mean one thing.
You're right. I bombed out.
What do we do now?
Well, there's one more chance. I met this old kook of a millionaire named Clampett once when I was writing a term paper. He might help.
Let's go.
Now, wait a minute. Instead of the Friends of Plato, we ought to give ourselves a name that'll get sympathy.
Oh, well, how about Friends of Oppressed Educationless Youth?
You got the right idea, but the initial should spell out some catchy word.
So?
So that spells phooey. Come on, we'll think of something on the way.
And when was the last time you got to go fishing?
Well,
Before you got the money. And when was the last time you got to harvest a crop?
well,
Before you got the money. I say it's been nothing but a curse.
Granny, you're probably right, but what are we going to do? As long as we're stuck with it, we just got to suffer along. Oh, howdy, young lady. Come in.
Thank you, Mr. Clampett. Hello, Granny.
Well, if it ain't little Ginny Jennings from up to the college.
Sure enough. What can we do for you?
Well, Mr. Clampett, I'm here representing Needy.
Needy?
Yes, the National Establishment for Educating Deserving Youth.
That sounds like a worthy cause.
Oh, it is, Mr. Clampett, and, well, to be honest, Needy needs money. A lot of it.
A lot of it?
Yes, sir.
Are you thinking what I'm thinking?
That sounds like an outfit could use $68,415,000. Young lady, step in the kitchen. I'm going to write you a check.
Thank you again, Mr. Clampett. With this check, you have unlocked the economic shackles on that great door of learning, beyond which lies the sum total of human knowledge.
Well, you're surely welcome to. Bye.
Bye, honey.
Goodbye, patrons of knowledge, generous benefactors of scholarly endeavor. Farewell, good friends.
Did you get it, or didn't you?
Yes, such wonderful people, you know, so kind and warm and really interested
How
in you.
much?
Oh, I don't know. I haven't looked at the check yet.
Well, is it enough to buy a hamburger?
Oh, I'm sure it's more than enough. Yeah, $68,415,000.
Oh, great. Let's see. 68
million?
Oh, Jim, we is plumb broke, and I've never been so happy in my whole life.
I feel this like I've been took out of harness myself. You know, I'm feeling better every minute. Fact is, I think I'll just walk right down to the bank and give Mr. Drysdale back his papers.
There's another person that won't have to worry about your money no more.
Yep. He'll be able to breathe a whole lot easier now.
Well, we don't have to spend it all on ourselves. We can help other kids get through the university. Yeah, we can buy books, supplies. We can buy the university.
I suppose we could do a lot of good with this money.
Please!
All right, I'll think about it. Thank you, Mr. Drysdale. Come on, kids.
It's true, Chief. I telephoned Granny, and Mr. Clampett signed the check. She's positively elated about it.
Oh, boy, I've got to stop eating herring and sour cream before bed. It's given me the worst nightmare I've ever had. Well, it's just like I'm awake.
You are awake, Chief.
Mind your own business.
You might as well face it. The Clampett account is gone.
Now, don't panic. This is business. These things happen. You win a few, you lose a few.
Well, Chief, I'm really impressed with the way you're taking this. What are you writing?
A suicide note.
Oh, no. Get a hold of yourself. There's nothing we can do about it.
Oh, yes, there is. We can fight.
What?
I've let Mr. Clampett get away too long with his crazy money ideas of his, and I'm calling a halt. I'm going to tell him if he persists with his insane idea, it's going to rub hard on him, real hard. I'll say to him, Mr. Clampett, if you give away all your money, you're going to have to move out of that mansion immediately.
Chief.
No, I'm through fooling around. And I'll say, Mr. Clampett, if you're broke, you're real broke. That means no money for food, no gasoline for the truck, nothing.
Chief, Mr. Clampett is...
I don't care who he is. I'm going to get tough.
Right, Dale? You don't have to get tough. We fully expect to give the house back. It's only fair. And don't worry about us spending no money. We know we're broke and we're glad of it.
Isn't there anything I can do?
Sure is. You can start relaxing, and it shouldn't take long now that you ain't got the money to worry about.
Mr. Clampett?
Ah, this ain't goodbye. We'll be in touch. And, Miss Jean, see, can you get him to do a little fishing?
Chief, you're crying again.
Yeah, let's get going.
I'm almost done, Granny, but we want to be sure and leave the place looking like we found it.
Uncle Jed, have a heart. What's a sophisticated, educated playboy like me gonna do around all them hog wrestlers back home?
Oh, I reckon you'll get by.
But, Uncle Jed, I belong here. Beverly Hills folks is my kind of people.
Welcome to stay if you want to.
Well, I can't without money. I've done gone and got used to a high standard of living.
Well, you're between a rock and a hard place, because I ain't got no money to give you.
Granny, we've been living here for 5 years. Now we's leaving. Ain't you sad?
Yeah, sad it took so dad blame long to pack.
All right, boy, drive on.
Chief! It's no use, Miss Hathaway. I'm going to that big safety deposit box in the sky.
Oh, for heaven's sake.
What else is left to live for? All the good things in life are gone. All 68 million of them.
Chief, you're acting like a child. Now, why don't you approach this Clampett problem constructively?
It's too late. Don't try to change my mind. Just pull the desk out from under me.
Oh, Chief, I couldn't.
If you feel that strongly about losing me.
Oh, no, it's not that. It's just that this desk is too heavy for me to pull.
Miss Hathaway!
You'd like to get onto this chair. Well, be reasonable. Well, why don't you forget about losing the Clampett account and start trying to get the Jennings account?
The what account?
The Friends of Plato. They have the money now.
Yes. Say, that's right. I know. I'll try to get the Jennings account. Miss Hathaway, I just saved the day.
Jethro, can't you go no faster? I want to get back to them piney woods whilst I can still climb a tree.
Yeah, let's go.
Uncle Jed, are you gonna give them the big news or should I?
What you mean?
We ain't gonna make it to them woods back home. The gas we got, we'll be doing good if we get outside the city limits.
How far can we go?
Beats me. We's running on wishful thinking right now.
You better find the first big, thick green woods you can. First place you see more than 2 trees together, pull over.
Ranger Warkle here. Warkle. W-A-R-K-L-E. Right. A truck about to dump some trash at the east boundary. But there's not even a road on that side of the park.
Well, this is as far as we're going, Uncle Jed. The tank's drier than dust.
Yeah, leastways we made it into some tolerable woods. How's Granny doing back there, Ellie?
Well, she's still asleep, Paul. Has been since before we turned off the road.
How'd she manage to sleep through all this bumping?
Plumb tuckered out. She loaded up the truck single-handed in 20 minutes flat.
Oh, I must have dozed off. Oh, we're back in our woods. And so soon. My, look how pretty everything looks here at home. Nothing's changed a bit. I feel like a new person now that I'm here.
Granny,
Oh, I gotta kiss the ground. The hallowed soil of my homeland. Oh, I've waited so long for this.
Granny, I think I'd hold off on that.
How come?
Well, we ain't exactly home.
Where is we?
Strictly speaking, we're still in Los Angeles.
Los Angeles out in circles.
We come as far as we could with the gas we had.
You mean we stuck here?
For a little while, but at leastways, we got good dirt under our feet. We got trees, bushes, sky to look at.
Birds and breeze to listen to, and
How about it, Granny?
Los Angeles, pooh!
All right, here we are. Miss Jennings, your new home. Compliments of the Commerce Bank.
But this is the Clampett mansion.
Ah, but not anymore. It's yours for as long as you want it. And in those boxes, you'll find a few more surprises from the Commerce Bank.
You can't afford to give her the car and all this?
You've got to spend $1 to make $1. Besides, I'm keeping the trading stamps.
Really, Mr. Drysdale, I just don't feel right about your giving us all these things.
Nonsense. It's just what I felt in my heart. And there's absolutely no strings attached. Of course, when it comes time to depositing the check, I hope you'll keep in mind that other banks would give you a calendar or a lousy blotter or something. Oh, goodbye.
Look, Jenny, this coat still has a tag on it. 4,500 clams. And this dress must be a Paris original.
Look, put it all back. I'm not going to take any of it, or this mansion, or that car.
What?
Look, Mr. Drysdale is only doing it so I'll deposit this check in his bank, and I just can't cash it.
All right, but we can at least try some of these things on.
Well, I suppose we could do that much.
Yeah.
You know, Jed, staying on here till we get enough money to go home on might not be so bad after all.
yeah, leastways we's in the woods, away from all them buildings.
I've been studying on it. I bet you the owner of these woods would let us sharecrop them if we asked him. That way we could trade off the harvest for gas.
He'd probably be tickled pink just to get his land cleared.
Uncle Jed, I got to talk to you. I've been out for a long tramp in the woods, and there's something I found out.
What?
I got to head back to the city. Done gone and got too sophisticated to live out here like a wild animal.
Yeah.
Well, heck yeah. When you took on as much class and savoir-faire as me, you can't just up and chuck it like a pair of dirty overalls.
Well, it's your life, boy. How do you figure on making a living?
Well, I'm going to have me a talk with that there needy outfit. Having all your money, they can support me in a manner which I've become accustomed.
Well, before you make up your mind, why don't you listen to what we're planning to do out here?
Okay, shoot.
Well, we're going to look up the owner of this land and see can we clear it for a little farm.
But that'd take a good 6 weeks of wood chopping.
Yeah, and it'll feel good to get back doing some hard work for a change.
Well, I'm sorry, Uncle Jed, but it'd be too risky for me to do that kind of unskilled labor.
What you mean?
Well, I've been planning on being a brain surgeon or a soda jerk. And for either one, I got to protect these hands.
Well, good luck, boy. Be sure and say bye to your Granny and Ellie Mae before you leave, and let us hear from you.
Yes, sir. Bye, Jed.
Oh, howdy, Jed Clampett's my name.
I'm Ranger Warkle.
Well, pleased to meet you, Ranger. Who?
Warkle. W-A-R-K-L-E.
Yeah, Warkle. Sounds a little like a bird call, don't it?
What are you doing with this axe?
Oh, you got something to do with this land?
Well, you could say that, yes.
Well, you're going to be happy to hear this. We're planning on chopping down all these trees and plowing and planting a little corn.
Oh. And I suppose you want to build a little red barn and put up a nice fence, too.
Not unless we get some livestock.
You trying to get my goat?
Oh, we don't need a goat. Well, what do you say? Can we commence clearing?
Listen, you old coot. Can't you figure out why these trees are standing here?
Oh, but if you don't watch your tongue, you're going to have to find somebody else to chop them down.
Howdy. Who are you?
Who are you?
I'm Jethro Bodine. I used to live here.
Oh, but Mr. Drysdale said we could
Hey,
take...
I bet you're the folks from Needy. Is Jenny Jennings here?
Jethro?
Jenny? Jenny Jennings? Is that you?
Well, yes, Jethro, but what are you doing here? I thought you and your family had moved.
Well, we did, but I just ain't cut out for that poor dirt farmer a bit. Well, it might be all right for them others, but I'm too much of a swinger now. I need about $1 million or $2 million from Needy.
You need money? But your Uncle Jed's a millionaire.
Not no more. He'd give it all to you.
All of it?
He's flattered a run-over hat.
Well, whose car is that?
I don't know.
Well, I'll go see if there's anybody out back.
I hope I can get that jar of crow gizzards that I left in the pantry. If we can't trade them for gas, I don't know what we'll do.
Don't worry, Granny.
Can't get over that Warkle fella running us off that lane.
Well, that's my fault, Granny. He probably took it personal when I said his name sounded like a bird call.
You've got to take this check back.
I do?
If we kept this money, we'd be miserable for the rest of our lives. It just isn't fair. Come on, girls, we've got to take this stuff back now.
He's right, Granny. It ain't fair to make them young'uns suffer with all our millions.
Did you notice how they were dressed? The money was starting to ruin them already.
Mr. Clampett, what are you doing back here? Where are the girls going?
I'm afraid we got some bad news for you, Mr. Drysdale. We're leaving my money in your bank. We ain't giving it away.
Do you see it, Miss Hathaway? They're giving it back to me. Oh, Miss Hathaway.
Well, it was nice being broke while it lasted.
Yeah, but the money is our problem. It's up to us to bear the burden of it.
Us and Mr. Drysdale. Look at him crying. He's as miserable as we are.
Yeah, too bad.
It's a curse, Jed. It's a curse. Get back in the truck quick.
Where are we going?
Home to fight the Injuns.
What engine?
The ones that are on the warpath. They're trying to grab our land. Hurry, Ellie, fetch the rest of the guns.
Now, hold on. What's this all about?
Ain't got time to tell you. They got Cousin Pearl.
Pearl?
It was her who telephoned. Said the Indians was trying to grab our land. Then all of a sudden, everything went dead.
She got cut off.
Yeah, right at her scalp.
Indians ain't kicked up a fuss in our neck of the woods for 100 years.
They've been laying back trying to catch us off guard. And while we're standing here gabbing, they're torturing poor Pearl.
What'd you say about Ma?
I can't tell you. It's not for your young, tender ears. Gee, they probably got her tied on an anthill, dragging her behind a wild pony, burning her at the stake.
Here's Russell's guns. Let's go.
Yeah, we gotta save Ma.
Hold it.
Well, put it back, Paul. Granny says the engines will be out to my hire.
Let's get going.
Now, we ain't going no place except in the house to call Pearl. Now, come on, all of you.
Jess, you're playing right into the hands of them red savages. The whole city, the bug tussle will be in flames. All 5 buildings will be burning. Them redskins will be hoping.
Granny, I just don't believe there is any engine trouble.
That's what General Custer said.
Out of the way.
Oh, Chief, Mr. Brewster just phoned from the Clampett oil fields and said...
They brought in another gusher. Oh, good old Brewster. Just tell him to keep those Clampett millions rolling in.
Well, that's not quite it, Chief. It seems there's an Indian reservation which adjoins the Clampett oil land.
They brought in a
And,
gusher there. Send a message to my Red brothers. Tell them Milburn Drysdale, their friend, speak with straight tongue. Tell them send old black wampum my bank. We put him in solid steel teepee, keep money safe for noble red brother.
Chief, hear me, Aller. There has been a boundary dispute, and the Indians are claiming part of the Clampett oil land.
Why, those dirty, thieving savages. Get Brewster on the phone. Tell him to call out the cavalry. This uprising must be put down.
There has been no uprising. It is a minor boundary dispute.
Anything involving the Clampett money is not minor. Now, I want the pony soldiers sent in there with their thundersticks.
Really? If you will just listen to me for one moment. Mr. Brewster feels the entire matter can be taken care of very nicely by a conference between Mr. Clampett and the chief of the Crowfeet.
Never. I know Jed Clampett. Why, he'd give the Indians his whole oil field and his money to boot.
Now, Chief...
Didn't he try to give it to those college kids? And for no reason. Just because they were starving.
Well, I'm afraid it is too late to prevent the meeting. Chief Running Wolf and his son are on their way out, and I told Mr. Brewster I would meet them at the airport.
Traitor. Turncoat.
Reasonable.
Oh, all right. Meet them at the airport as you agreed. But don't bring them to the Clampett. You bring them here, and I will do the negotiating.
But Mr. Brewster said he...
You bring Indian here for powwow. Or you and me have powwow. I pow and you ow.
Granny, these turnips are getting awful heavy.
Put them back in the truck like I told you. The Redskins have probably burnt the crops back home.
Bring them turnips back here and Ella May put the guns away.
Yes. You don't know them Injuns like I do. My grandpappy fought them. He told me.
Hello, Luke. Yeah, Judge Clampett speaking. Well, listen, Luke, Granny is worried that folks is getting scalped there. Would you talk to her?
I didn't say you was overcharging anybody, you old nut.
Granny made Indian scalp. She got the notion the crow feet's on the warpath and grabbed Cousin Pearl. We couldn't get no answer at her house. Oh. Luke says that Pearl was in there not 10 minutes ago.
Was she missing any hair?
Says he couldn't tell. She was wearing a hat.
She could have been scalped to the bone.
Granny, she'd have said something.
Not Pearl. She was never one to bother other folks with her trouble.
Luke, that's all we wanted. You ain't seen no Indians, huh? Well, thanks a heap. Bye.
Jed, your ignorance of Injuns is going to be the death of Luke Short. Of course he ain't seen no Injuns. He ain't going to see them.
Hey, what should I do with the turnips?
He's going to hear an owl hoot. Then he's going to hear a whippoorwill call. And then... fiery arrow right into his pickle barrel.
Hey, what should I do with the turnips?
Granny, if you want to call Luke and warn him, go right ahead. Now, give me them turnips.
Well, is we gonna go home and fight Indians, or ain't we?
I'm not. I don't want to hear no more about it.
There goes a good man, Jethro, but he's got one blind spot. Injuns. Hello. Oh, howdy, Mr. Brewster. Yeah, Pearl told us the Injuns were after our land. What? They're coming to Beverly Hills. Never mind, I ain't got no time to listen to no more. Goodbye. Come on, Jethro, we gotta spread the alarm. The Injuns are coming.
Well, why would they come out here?
Down there, stupid questions. The whole city, we gotta save them.
Actually, this boundary dispute could have been settled by correspondence. But I thought Dad would enjoy seeing Los Angeles.
How about it, Chief Running Wolf? What do you think of our city?
Ugh. Oh, come on, Dad. He likes to put people on with that Indian talk. Actually, he's a graduate of Oxford.
How interesting. I really would like your opinion, Chief.
Well, frankly, I find the high incidence of hydrocarbon and monoxide pollutants in your thermally inverted atmosphere very detrimental to proper respiration.
Go back to Ugg.
The Indians are coming! Get the cars in a circle! The Indians are coming! Get all the cars in a
Mr. Drysdale looks after the Clampett business affairs, and he requested that I bring you by here first. I hope you don't mind.
Not at all.
Dad,
Running Wolf and Little Fox are here. Right, Chief?
Chief?
Oh, that's what I call Mr. Drysdale. It's merely a term of respect. He's not... Chief, what in the name of Tonto are you doing?
Pale-faced woman, leave Chief with red brother.
But Chief...
Go! Take 'em coffee break. How? Red brothers wear white man's clothes. Bad medicine. Want white man's oil land. Very bad medicine. Oil. Smell 'em up. Indian campground. Poison spring. Fake. Great spirit. Very angry. Listen to counsel. of True Tongue. Go home, where the buffalo roam, and deer and antelope play. There seldom is heard a discouraging word, and the skies are not cloudy all day. Indian no listen to Brewster. White man speak with forked tongue. Indian speak straight tongue. Go home. Tell your people the great chief of West love Crowfeet tribe. Send them many presents. Cost them True Tongue plenty wampum. Beads for score. Tick tick for brave. Look, magic fire stick. Beat 'em, Flint. Huh? Indian make music sweeter than west wind in treetop. Forget oil land. Take 'em gifts. True Tongue give Red Brothers the works.
Don't worry, Ellie. Granny's got a scheme that'll fool them rascals when they goes to scalp us.
Granny, do you think it'll come to that? You'll just have to face up to it, child. It's the four of us against the whole Crowfoot tribe. We can only hold them off so long. Then they'll rush us and go for our hair.
Oh, Granny.
Just play dead and let them have it.
Won't that smart?
Not a bit.
Granny, hey, that's mine.
Oh, yeah. This is mine. Take yours, Ellie.
Jethro, I want you to... What is all this?
Wigs to fool the Injuns when they goes to scalp us.
And Granny's got one for you, too.
Yeah. There you are. You think you're albino. Injuns are superstitious about them.
Granny, I just talked to Mr. Brewster. The Indians is coming out all right, but they're just coming to talk.
Talk.
Yeah, they got a reservation over to the Beverly Sunset Hotel, and I'm supposed to go over there and talk to him.
Did I tell you he had a blind spot? He's walking right into their reservation. Well, at least he ain't going empty-handed. Ellie, fetch their guns.
Granny, we ain't going to fight. We're going to talk.
Did you ever see a John Wayne movie? It's an Injun trap. Why, they'll peel your head like an onion.
I ain't taking their word for it. Mr. Brewster said it.
Sure he said it. They was probably holding burning coals at his feet.
Here you go.
All right, we'll take the guns.
And the wigs, too.
And the wigs, too.
Now, there's just one little favor Ellie and me would like to ask of you before you go.
What's that?
Shoot us! What? Don't leave us to the mercy of them red devils.
Drive on, boy.
Ain't we gonna shoot him?
Drive on, boy.
John Wayne would have shot us.
I can't let you make a fool of yourself any longer. They've been putting you on.
It was a great performance, Mr. Drysdale. My people could take Indian lessons from.
Running Wolf was a Rhodes Scholar at Oxford, and Little Fox has his Ph.D. from Harvard. And as for being impressed by these trinkets, the chief owns a string of banks.
Banks? So that's it. You're after the Clampett money, too.
Say, that reminds me, Dad. We're supposed to have a meeting with Mr. Clampett.
Miss Hathaway, could we impose upon you?
Oh, of course. My car's right out.
Never! You come near the Clampett place, and you'll be shot down like dogs.
I'm sorry. Actually, Mr. Drysdale's a very fine man. But he has one blind spot. Money. He just goes berserk.
Fortunately, we're meeting Mr. Clampett at our hotel.
Oh, good. I'll get you a cab.
Any sign of Injuns, Ellie?
No, ma'am, Granny. I ain't seen a thing, ain't heard nothing neither.
Oh, that's the worst sign there is. He'll be on us any minute.
Miss Jane's car just turned to the gate. She's made it to the fort.
I bet she ain't. He could be a redskin skulking behind every bush in the yard. Quick, step aside. I'll cover her. Oh, Too late. They got her. There's an engine at the wheel.
Oh, Granny!
This is for Miss Jane, you bloodthirsty buzzard.
Hit him, Granny?
I don't know if I hit me, but I sure got a mess of feathers.
How do you do? Won't you come in?
Thank you. Oh, wrong room, Uncle Jed. We was looking for a couple of ignorant Indians.
We might qualify. I'm Chief Running Wolf.
Oh, pleased to meet you. I'm Jed Clampett. This here is Jethro Bodine.
How, Red Brother?
Little Fox, Mr. Clampett is here, and he's brought along a friend of Chief True Tongue.
You about scared the daylights out of us poor defenseless women.
Well, I'm sorry, Granny. I had to warn you about the Indians.
Well, why'd you come up here dressed like one?
So he could slip through their lines, Ellie.
Yeah.
She ain't too smart when it comes to Injuns. Comes by it honest. Poor child.
Where's Miss Jane?
I'm afraid she's with the Indians.
Oh, no. Did they take her alive?
Alive? I...
Never mind. I can see it's something you'd rather not talk about.
Yeah. Where's Mr. Clampett?
That's something I'd rather not talk about.
Oh, Granny, him and
Jelly, we don't air our family failings in front of outsiders.
Well, Granny, wherever he is, tell him not to talk to those Indians.
My very own words.
Good, good. He shan't have nothing to do with those savages.
Mr. Drysdale, it looks like you and me is the only two people in Beverly Hills with any Injun savvy.
Yeah.
Let him attack. We'll show them.
Attack?
Mr. Drysdale, that Crowfoot tribe will be on us like a pack of wolves. Racing around the house on their war ponies, screeching their blood-curdling yells, flinging their lances and tomahawks, shooting their burning arrows.
Well, Granny, you expect a real Indian attack?
Mr. Drysdale, except for John Wayne, there ain't nobody knows Injuns like me. He's after our land, and them varmints don't give up. If we don't fight them here, we'll have to go back home and fight them.
We'll fight him here.
Good.
I'll go telephone for help.
There ain't nobody that'll listen to you in this town. Listen, you can get hold of John Wayne.
Say, that's a good idea. I'll call the movie studio.
Here's the telephone.
You want John Wayne to help fight off an Indian attack? Milburn, are you calling from a bar or the funny farm?
I am calling from the Clampett Mansion, where Granny says the Indians will ride up on their war ponies.
Milburn, I'm busy. Have some black coffee and call me back.
Larry, if Indian don't attack here, Clampett's go home fight Indian. Studio closed down, Chief Bald Eagle lose job.
I'm beginning to read your smoke signals. One Indian raid coming up.
Chief, I think we made a real good deal. Fair to both of us.
Yes, as my son the attorney would say, quid pro quo.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't speak Crowfoot.
Well, so long, little fox. Sure has been nice dealing with you.
My pleasure, Jethro.
So long to you, too, Chief.
Au revoir.
Oh, the boy don't speak Crowfoot neither.
So long.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Chief.
Goodbye.
Boy, Uncle Jed, I don't know how you made out with the chief, but I sure gave his son a skinning.
You did?
Yeah, I traded him my $40 wig for this.
Nice watch.
That ain't no watch. It's what you call a genuine Injun tic-tic.
Can't understand it, Ellie. I ain't popped up one of them red devils, and there must be better than 100 of them.
Well, we's running low on shells, Granny.
I hope Mr. Drysdale's doing better out back.
I thought you guys were stuntmen.
We are.
Well, make it look real. I took the buckshot out of Granny's shells, but you still gotta bite the dust.
What dust? That's cement.
Well, do something to make it look like an Indian raid. I can hire jockeys to ride. Out front,
I'm fine in the range, Ellie. I just dropped one. He's still bouncing.
All right, Granny. He's out of shells.
Only John Wayne was here.
Mr. Drysdale's been hit.
Only a flesh wound in the heart.
Fetch my knife. I'll cut it out.
No. I can do it. Dirty red savages.
It's the bravest thing I ever seen.
I'm going out there and give myself up. Now, right away, and you'll be saved.
Oh, no, Mr. Drysdale.
Oh, yes, it's me they really want.
You, when you've seen Ellie Mae, they might be ignorant, but they ain't blind. Now, Ellie, it's time for thee.
Let me go out there. I'll trick them. I'll lure them away.
Are you dead set on that notion?
Yes?
There's one way you can lure them off.
What's that?
Come with me. Ellie Mae, get that stuff away from the door.
They won't believe I'm a woman.
If they run fast enough, they will. Open the door, Ellie.
They'll shoot him.
No, they won't. Besides, the way he sheds arrows, it won't matter.
Well, I'll go see if he makes it.
No, child. It's better if we never know.
Well, Granny, he's back safe and sound.
I told you it wasn't going to be no trouble with the engines.
Yeah, Uncle Jed was right. Look at that, Uncle Jed. Granny will do anything to keep from admitting she's wrong.
Yeah, she's a fine little woman, but she's got one blind spot.
Engines.
I beg your pardon. I understand you were looking for me. I'm John Wayne.
Where was you when I needed you, John?
Welcome to the Hills, preparations for Mayor Amos Wentworth Hogg. I still remember the first time I saw these particular episodes of the Beverly Hillbillies, though the exact year has blurred into that soft golden haze that surrounds so many childhood afternoons spent in front of the television. What has never blurred is the feeling that rose in me the moment the Clampett household began its frantic, affectionate scramble to welcome the great man from Tussle. Even now, decades later, the opening lines of this composite script land on my heart, with the same gentle weight they always have. Danny Ellie get through, where is everybody? Well, Granny's checking her company bills, and Jethro's out front hanging up the welcome sign. There is something almost sacred in that domestic roll call, something that tells me at once I am home again among people who still believe that a visitor of importance deserves the full measure of their best selves. What moves me most in these early moments is the pure unself-conscious sincerity of the family's excitement. Jed Clampett, played with that quiet, unshakable moral gravity that only Buddy Ebsen could summon, is not merely preparing for a guest, he is preparing for a living embodiment of the hills they left behind. When he says almost in wonder, "Jane, I just can't believe that the great man will be right here under our own roof," I feel the full force of a man who has never grown cynical about human greatness. Ebsen's delivery is never rushed. He lets the words breathe. In my own long relationship with the series, I have come to believe that this particular quality of Jed's, his willingness to be impressed, to be a little nervous, to still find the world large and full of honor, is the moral center of the entire show. Watching him here, I am reminded of every time in my own life when I have stood at a window waiting for someone important, and felt that same mixture of pride and trembling. Ellie Mae's contribution to the atmosphere is quieter but no less essential. Donna Douglas always played her with a kind of luminous simplicity that never felt simple-minded. When she asks whether the mayor has a motorcycle escort, the line is pure Ellie, practical, curious and entirely without irony. I have always loved how the writers allowed her to remain uncorrupted by Beverly Hills sophistication. In this preparatory sequence, she is the emotional weather vane of the household, registering the rising wind of anticipation without ever becoming frantic. Her presence softens the broader comedy and keeps the scene rooted in genuine affection. And then there is Jethro. Max Baer Jr. had a genius for physical earnestness that could turn the smallest task into high comedy. The image of him out front hanging the welcome sign is one I can still see as clearly as if it were playing on the screen in front of me right now. The banner itself, Welcome Hog, is a masterpiece of well-intentioned disaster. When Jed discovers it and remarks, maybe it read better if you put Mayor in front of Hog, the line lands with perfect comic timing because it is spoken without a trace of mockery. Jed is not laughing at his nephew, he is simply trying to help. That distinction has always mattered deeply to me. So much modern comedy is built on the pleasure of watching characters humiliate one another. The Beverly Hillbillies at its best found its humor in the opposite impulse, the desire to protect and improve one another's efforts even when those efforts are gloriously misguided. The red carpet sequence is pure Clampett logic and still makes me smile with recognition. You said we had to roll out the red carpet for the mayor. Where did you get it? I ripped it out of the upstairs hallway. There it is, the entire philosophy of the family in 2 lines. If something is needed for hospitality, you take it from where it already exists in the house and put it to better use. No thought of permanence, no anxiety about the hallway looking bare. The moment is funny, of course. But it is also oddly moving. In a culture that was already, even in the mid-1960s, becoming obsessed with appearances and status objects, the Clampetts treat their possessions as tools for kindness rather than markers of rank. I have returned to this small exchange many times over the years when I have needed reminding that generosity does not require surplus, it only requires willingness. Mr. Drysdale's arrival in his new car provides the first sharp note of culture clash, and Raymond Bailey plays it with the perfect mixture of self-satisfaction and barely concealed panic. What, it's Mr. Drysdale? We didn't recognize you in your new car. Pretty snazzy, eh? The family's inability to distinguish the banker's vehicle from the official car of the mayor of Tussle is not merely a joke about rural ignorance, it is a quiet indictment of how little the trappings of wealth actually communicate character. Drysdale wants to be seen as important, the Clampetts simply want to be ready for their guest. That difference in motivation has always struck me as one of the show's most consistent and most underrated strengths. When the real anticipation begins to crest, hey everybody, it's the mayor, I see him a-comin', I feel again, the particular joy these preparation scenes always gave me as a child. There is a kind of communal theater in the way the family gathers itself. Granny is still off-screen checking her company bills, but her presence is already felt in the nervous energy of the others. Irene Ryan had the rare gift of dominating a scene even before she entered it. The very mention of her name in these early lines carries weight. We know that when she does appear, the emotional temperature of the house will rise several degrees. I have often thought about what these preparatory rituals meant in the broader cultural moment of the mid-1960s. America was deep in the era of the Great Society of rising expectations of political rhetoric that promised transformation. Yet here in a mansion in Beverly Hills, a family from the hills is preparing to welcome a small-town mayor with the same seriousness that other households might have reserved for a head of state. The show never mocks that seriousness. Instead, it honors it. The Clampetts believe that dignity is not conferred by office but by the quality of attention one human being is willing to pay another. That belief feels to me more radical with every passing year. The comedy of the mistaken banner, the stolen red carpet, the nervous pacing, the hopeful peering down the driveway, all of it is carried by a deep undercurrent of love. These people want the mayor to feel welcome not because they expect anything in return but because welcoming is what decent people do. Jed's quiet declaration that ain't everybody can say the mayor of Tussle slept here is delivered with such unaffected pride that I still feel a small catch in my throat. In a television landscape that often equated sophistication with cynicism, the Beverly Hillbillies insisted that wonder was still a legitimate response to the world. As the official car of Bug Tussle finally turns into the gate, the preparatory movement of the episode reaches its natural crest. The family has done everything in its power. The banner has been adjusted, the carpet has been laid, the nervous energy has been shared. What remains is the arrival itself, and with it the first test of whether the great man from the hills will prove worthy of the honor being prepared for him. I know of course what is coming, I have known for years. Yet every time I return to these opening pages of the script, I find myself hoping against all narrative knowledge that the visit will somehow remain as pure as the preparations that preceded it. That hope is part of what keeps these episodes alive for me. The Clampetts teach us again and again that the act of getting ready to love someone is itself a form of love. In the careful hanging of a misspelled banner, in the sacrificial ripping up of a hallway carpet, in the collective holding of breath as a car approaches the gate, we are given a portrait of hospitality that feels almost archaic in its sincerity, and therefore all the more precious. I watch these scenes now not merely as comedy, though they remain wonderfully funny, but as a kind of emotional homecoming. The house is being made ready. The family is gathering. Somewhere down the driveway the mayor of Bug Tussle is arriving. And for a few luminous minutes before the complications begin, everything is exactly as it should be. The longer I sit with these opening moments, the more I realize how carefully the writers established the emotional stakes. Every line of dialogue, every small physical action is calibrated to show us a family that still believes in the possibility of greatness arriving at their door. That belief is never presented as naive. It is presented as a choice, a deliberate daily decision to meet the world with open hands rather than folded arms. In an era when political language was becoming increasingly abstract and technocratic, the Clampetts insisted on the concrete: a banner, a carpet, a place at the table, a glass of elderberry wine waiting by the fire. Their preparations are a form of resistance against the thinning of human connection. I think often of how these scenes must have played in living rooms across America in January of 1967. Families who had themselves left rural places for cities, or who still lived in small towns and watched the urban world with a mixture of fascination and suspicion, would have recognized something of themselves in the Clampetts' anxious pride. The show never asked its audience to choose between the hills and Beverly Hills. It simply showed what happens when the values of one are carried intact into the other. The preparation sequence is the purest expression of that project. Before any satire of political corruption or urban pretension can begin, we are first asked to fall in love again with the family's capacity for hope. And fall in love I still do, every single time. The nervousness of Jed, the practical curiosity of Ellie Mae, the earnest labor of Jethro, the unseen but already formidable presence of Granny, together, they create a household that feels more real to me than many of the actual rooms I have inhabited. That is the quiet miracle of these early pages. They do not merely set up a plot, they restore a way of being in the world. They remind me that it is still possible to care this much about a visitor, to rearrange the house for the sake of welcome, to stand at the window with a heart full of uncomplicated anticipation. As the official car of Bug Tussle comes into view and the family moves as one toward the door, I feel again the old familiar lift in my chest. The preparations are complete. The great man is here. Whatever comes next, the stolen speeches, the sensitive name, the eventual revelation of sticky fingers, will be measured against the purity of this opening movement. And that more than any single joke or plot turn is why these episodes continue to matter to me. They begin with love. They begin with the decision to make room. They begin with the oldest and most radical of human gestures, the rolling out of a red carpet, however makeshift, for someone who might yet prove worthy of it. The silver-tongued orator arrives, stolen speeches and official cars. I have always believed that the true test of a guest is not how he is prepared for, but how he enters. And when Mayor Amos Wentworth Hogg finally steps out of the Bug Tussle official car, the entire emotional temperature of the episode shifts in a way that still feels, even after all these years, both exhilarating and faintly ominous. The script captures the moment with a kind of ceremonial flourish that the show rarely allowed itself. My friends, I bring you greetings from the good people of Bug Tussle, from which I came. Now they was worried about me making this trip, but I said to them, There's nothing to be afraid of but being afraid itself. I shall return and, government of the people by the people and for the people shall not perish from Bug Tussle. The first time I heard those lines as a boy I laughed out loud at the sheer audacity of the theft. Franklin Roosevelt, Douglas MacArthur and Abraham Lincoln all pressed into service for a small-town mayor from a place called Bug Tussle. Yet the laughter never felt pure. Even then, I sensed that something more complicated was happening. The mayor is not merely a comic fraud. He is a man who has discovered that the grandest language in the American political tradition can be borrowed wholesale and still produce a kind of spell. When Jed murmurs almost in admiration that man sure does things with words, don't he, and Miss Hathaway replies dry as dust, yes, he steals them, the exchange lands with perfect dual purpose. It is funny. It is also in its quiet way a diagnosis of a certain strain of American public life that has never entirely disappeared. What moves me most in this arrival sequence is the way the Clampetts receive the performance. They do not catch the plagiarism. They catch the music. Buddy Ebsen plays Jed's reaction with such open-hearted wonder that I still feel a protective tenderness toward him. Jed is not stupid, he is simply unwilling to begin a relationship with suspicion. In a culture that increasingly prizes the ability to detect fraud at a glance, Jed's refusal to do so feels almost radical. I have returned to this moment many times when I have needed reminding that skepticism, while useful, is not the highest human virtue. Sometimes the higher courage is to meet a man at the level of his best rhetoric and see what happens next. The physical business of the arrival is pure Beverly Hillbillies gold. Jethro immediately volunteers to tote the mayor's bag upstairs, and the mayor, ever the campaigner, seizes the chance to ask whether the boy is old enough to vote. I'm glad, and credit to your upbringing, he declares before launching into yet another borrowed chestnut. As the twig is bent, so is the tree. Max Baer Jr. plays Jethro's swelling pride with such transparent delight that the scene becomes a small masterclass in how innocence can be both comic and strangely dignified. Jethro does not know he is being flattered by a professional. He only knows that a great man has noticed him. That distinction has always struck me as one of the show's most compassionate insights. Then comes the delicate matter of the name. The script handles the mayor's sensitivity with a lightness that never quite conceals the underlying pathos. After 12 campaigns full of name-calling, we are told he can hardly stand the sight of bacon. When Granny later declares that she cannot abide a hog in her house, the joke is obvious, yet Irene Ryan's off-screen presence already gives it weight. We know that when she finally confronts the issue directly, the collision will be volcanic. For now, the writers let the discomfort simmer. Mr. Drysdale's hurried warning to Jed the mayor is a mite sensitive about his name is delivered with the practiced urgency of a man who has spent his life managing other people's vanities. Raymond Bailey was always superb at playing the banker who understands every human weakness except his own. The official car itself becomes a kind of secondary character in these pages. When Ellie Mae and Jethro take it upon themselves to drive it to the gas station and fill the tank, the mayor's apparent generosity is immediately undercut by Miss Hathaway's acid observation that the great man has filled their hearts with joy and his tank with gas. The line is one of Nancy Culp's finest. She delivers it without cruelty, only with the weary precision of someone who has watched too many public men perform private calculations. I have always admired how the show allowed Miss Hathaway to see clearly without ever becoming the moral center. She is the audience's surrogate in cynicism, yet the narrative never fully endorses her view. The Clampetts' willingness to believe remains the emotional North Star. Watching the mayor move through the mansion scattering borrowed eloquence like confetti, I am struck again by how carefully the episode balances satire and sympathy. Amos Hogg is a thief of language, and we will soon learn of public funds. Yet he is also a lonely man who has spent a lifetime performing greatness for people who needed to believe in it. When he tells Jed that he has devoted his whole life to serving the people of his community, not just as mayor but as tax assessor, treasurer, police chief, fire chief, and justice of the peace, the claim is both absurd and oddly touching. One man holding every office is a comic premise, but it is also a portrait of a place so small that responsibility cannot be delegated. In the mid-1960s, as American institutions grew larger and more impersonal, there was something almost elegiac in the image of a single fallible human being trying to be the entire government of Bug Tussle. The confusion of identities during the introductions remains one of my favorite bits of physical and verbal comedy in the entire series. The mayor greets Miss Hathaway as Granny, then has to be corrected, then greets Granny with the same automatic warmth he would have shown any voter. The sequence is played at a brisk clip, yet every beat is clear. What I love most is that no one becomes truly angry. Embarrassment flickers and is absorbed into the larger project of hospitality. That absorption feels to me like a small model of how a decent society might handle the constant small humiliations of public life. As the mayor is led inside toward the promise of victuals and elderberry wine, the official car sits outside like a gleaming emblem of borrowed authority. The children have already claimed it for their own joyride. Granny has not yet appeared to render her verdict on the hog in the house. Jed still believes he is in the presence of a great man. And I, watching from the distance of so many years, feel the familiar mixture of amusement and protectiveness that these episodes always summon in me. The silver-tongued orator has arrived. The speeches have been stolen and redeployed with shameless skill. The car has been filled with gas at someone else's emotional expense. And yet the Clampetts have met him at the door with their best selves intact. That, more than any single joke, is what keeps this arrival sequence alive for me. It shows a family still capable of awe in the presence of performance. It shows a culture, however briefly, in which the language of Lincoln and Roosevelt could still be spoken aloud in a living room and produce not only laughter but a kind of startled respect. I do not romanticize the mayor, I know what he is. But I remain grateful that the show allowed us to watch the Clampetts believe in him for as long as they did. Their belief was not blindness. It was a form of grace. And grace, even when it is about to be disappointed, is always worth lingering over. The longer I sit with these pages, the more I realize that the official car and the stolen speeches are doing double duty. On the surface, they are instruments of comedy. Beneath the surface, they are instruments of measurement. They measure how much sincerity the Clampetts still have to give. They measure how much performance a man like Amos Hogg needs in order to feel real. And they measure quietly how much of the American political vocabulary had already by 1967 become portable, detachable, available for hire by anyone with the nerve to use it. The show never lectures us about this. It simply lets the mayor speak, lets Jed admire, lets Miss Hathaway note the theft, and trusts us to feel the distance between those three responses. I feel that distance still. It is part of why I keep returning. In the space between Jed's open wonder and Miss Hathaway's dry correction lies an entire education in how to listen to public language. The Beverly Hillbillies never claimed to be a political show, yet in moments like this it becomes one of the shrewdest political entertainments of its era. It understands that the real drama is not whether the mayor is a fraud, of course he is, but whether the people who receive him will allow their own capacity for admiration to be permanently damaged by the discovery. The Clampetts, as we will see, are more resilient than that. Their resilience begins here in the driveway with a borrowed speech and a borrowed car and a family still willing to believe that greatness might have come to call. A hero with sticky fingers, the true purpose of the mayor's visit. There is a moment in every great episode of the Beverly Hillbillies when the air changes, when the laughter that has been rolling along so easily suddenly deepens into something more complicated. For me, that moment in this particular story arrives the instant Mr. Drysdale closes the door and asks to speak with the great man alone. I still feel a small tightening in my chest when I reach those lines. The public performance is over, the private accounting is about to begin. And what follows is one of the most quietly devastating portraits of political frailty the series ever attempted. The mayor's confession begins with a kind of weary theatricality that Raymond Bailey and the guest actor play with exquisite restraint. "I'm afraid I have something to confess," he says, and Drysdale, ever the collector of other men's wisdom, immediately reaches for a proverb always said, "An honest confession is good for the soul." The mayor's response, brilliant, I must write that down, is both funny and heartbreaking. Here is a man so accustomed to speaking in borrowed language that even his own guilt must be framed by someone else's sentence before he can fully feel it. I have never been able to watch this exchange without feeling a pang of recognition. We have all known people who can only approach their own failures through the safety of quotation. What he finally admits is simple and catastrophic. The connections to the governor and the senator were bragging pure and simple, designed to impress Jed Clampett. The real reason for the journey west is more desperate. Bug Tussle is in financial difficulty because 5 high-placed officials have been guilty of mismanaging funds. When Drysdale asks the natural question, and who were they, the answer lands like a soft explosion. Tax assessor, the treasurer, fire chief, police chief, justice of the peace. And then after a pause that the script leaves beautifully open, the mayor adds the fatal clarification, I happen to hold all 5 offices. I can still remember the first time that revelation hit me. I was young enough to laugh at the absurdity of one man occupying every position of power in a town, and old enough to feel the loneliness underneath the joke. In the mid-1960s, as American government grew more layered and bureaucratic, the image of a single fallible human being, trying to be the entire civic structure of Bug Tussle, carried an unexpected melancholy. The mayor is not a cartoon villain. He is a man who has been performing competence for so long that the performance has become the only self he has left. When he says that the purpose of his visit is to raise money to cover those mistakes and avoid a public scandal, the line is delivered without swagger. It is the voice of someone who knows the story has already gotten away from him. Drysdale's reaction is pure commerce bank. He is shocked, of course, but the shock quickly calculates. That's highly commendable, but why don't you expose them? The mayor's answer is already known, yet hearing it spoken aloud still carries weight. Then comes the negotiation. The mayor needs approximately $100,000. Drysdale's refusal is immediate and absolute. You'll be a knight in rusty armor before you get $100,000 out of me. The shift from knight in shining armor to rusty armor is one of those small verbal precision strikes that the series specialized in. It is funny. It is also cruel in exactly the way that people who live by the ledger can be cruel. What moves me most in this entire sequence is the mayor's inability to ask Jed directly. He has tried, he confesses, but he cannot bring himself to do it. You see, to them, I've always been a hero. That single sentence is for me the emotional heart of the episode. Amos Hogg has spent a lifetime constructing a version of himself that the people of Bug Tussle and now the Clampetts can look up to. To ask for money would be to dismantle the statue in their presence. I have known men like this. Perhaps we all have. Men whose public selves have become so elaborate that the private self can no longer risk exposure. The show does not mock him for this weakness. It simply lets us sit with the cost of it. The dialogue that follows is a master class in the series' ability to let comedy and pathos occupy the same space. Drysdale offers the ancient transactional wisdom, you scratch my back and I'll scratch yours, and the mayor, ever the collector of phrases, seizes on it with desperate enthusiasm. It's a deal, where's your itch? In the pocketbook. The exchange is pure farce, yet underneath it runs a current of real desperation. The mayor is not merely trying to cover a shortfall, he is trying to preserve the only version of himself that has ever been loved. I often think about how this scene must have played in 1967, when the country was beginning to look more critically at the gap between political rhetoric and political reality. The Beverly Hillbillies was never a topical show in the conventional sense, yet it had an uncanny ability to brush against the live nerves of its moment without ever preaching. Here, in the closed room of Drysdale's calculation and the mayor's shame, the series offers a miniature portrait of how public trust is both manufactured and spent. The Clampetts still believe in the hero, the banker sees only the liability, and the hero himself is trapped between the two perceptions, unable to move in either direction without losing something essential. The longer I sit with these pages, the more I admire the writing for refusing to make the mayor simply ridiculous. Yes, the premise of one man holding 5 offices is absurd. Yes, the stolen speeches are shameless. But the fear of being seen clearly by the people who still admire him is not absurd at all. It is painfully human. When he tells Drysdale that he has always been a hero to the Clampetts, I hear the quiet terror of a man who suspects that the heroism was the only real gift he ever had to offer. Buddy Ebsen is not even in the room during this confession, yet his presence hangs over every line. The mayor's reluctance is measured entirely against the imagined reaction of Jed Clampett. That is how large Jed's moral stature has become by this point in the series. He is the audience the mayor cannot bear to disappoint. In my own long relationship with the show, I have come to believe that this is one of Ebsen's greatest achievements. He made decency look so solid that even the frauds who encounter it are forced to reckon with their own reflection. As the private conversation ends and the mayor prepares to return to the family that still believes in him, I feel the familiar mixture of amusement and ache that these episodes always leave me with. The sticky fingers have been revealed, at least to us and to Drysdale. The hero is still intact in the next room, sitting by the fire waiting for elderberry wine and the warmth of people who have not yet learned the truth. The distance between those two realities is where the real drama lives, and it is a distance the show will continue to explore with remarkable tenderness in the scenes that follow. I return to this confession sequence whenever I need to remember that comedy at its best does not merely expose weakness. It sits with the human cost of that weakness. Amos Wentworth Hogg is a thief of language and of public money. He is also a man who cannot bear to stop being someone's idea of a great man. That combination is as old as politics itself and as fresh as the next election. The Beverly Hillbillies understood it without bitterness. It simply showed us the closed door. The borrowed proverb, the $100,000 that would never be asked for in the open, and the hero who still had to walk back into the parlor and keep performing. For that understanding and for the unexpected compassion that accompanies it, I remain deeply grateful. Granny's romantic misunderstanding and the flight of the candidate. I have always cherished the particular kind of misunderstanding that only the Clampetts could invent, the kind that arises not from stupidity but from an excess of generosity. In this sequence, the family takes the mayor's visible discomfort, his inability to finish a sentence, his sudden need for elderberry wine to summon courage, and translates it into the most flattering story available. The great man has fallen in love with Granny and cannot find the words to propose. Every time I reach this turn in the script, I feel a soft, incredulous smile spread across my face. It is so pure, so characteristic, and so revealing of the moral weather inside that household. Jed is the first to voice the theory, and Buddy Ebsen plays the moment with that gentle, speculative warmth that made him the quiet conscience of the series. This may be telling tales out of school, but it wasn't politics that brought the mayor out here. What you mean he just tried to ask me something and he couldn't find the words? Hey, Miss Hogg, tongue-tied as a lovesick schoolboy. The phrase lovesick schoolboy applied to the silver-tongued orator of Bug Tussle is already comedy of a high order. Yet Ebsen never forces the laugh. He lets the idea bloom naturally from Jed's desire to think the best of people. In my own long watching of the show, I have come to believe that this is Jed's greatest gift and his greatest vulnerability. He cannot imagine that a man might be tongue-tied by shame rather than by love. Jethro, of course, seizes the romantic theory and runs with it at full comic gallop. Max Baer Jr. was never better than when his character glimpsed a sudden elevation in family status. The vision of Granny as First Lady of Bug Tussle unlocks an entire civic fantasy: fire trucks, a hook and ladder, a pumper, a big red convertible for the fire chief himself naturally, and the glorious possibility of building a whole new town called Hog City. When he calculates that Granny's share of the fortune comes to better than $15 million, the number is spoken with the pure unfiltered excitement of a man who has never known the corroding effect of actual wealth. I still laugh at the speed with which Jethro constructs an entire future out of a misunderstanding, and I still feel a little ache at how completely he believes in it. The beauty of the sequence lies in how thoroughly the family commits to the wrong story. No one stops to consider alternative explanations. The mayor's earlier private agony over money is invisible to them. All they can see is a man who grew suddenly awkward in Granny's general direction. In the logic of the Clampett universe, romantic love is a more plausible motive than financial desperation. That hierarchy of motives is one of the show's most consistent and most endearing moral signatures. I have returned to this moment many times when the world outside the screen has felt particularly cynical. It reminds me that there once existed a popular American comedy willing to propose without irony that people might prefer a love story to a ledger. When the mayor finally understands what is being assumed about him, the script gives him one of the most delicious exits in the entire series. He flees with a final borrowed flourish. Goodbye, goodbye is such sweet sorrow that I would say goodbye till it be morrow. The theft from Shakespeare is so blatant, so perfectly in character that it becomes a kind of comic perfection. The silver-tongued orator, faced with the prospect of having to either confess his true purpose or accept a romantic fate he never intended, chooses the third option, theatrical disappearance. Nancy Culp's Miss Hathaway later notes that the great man has finally run dry, and the observation is both accurate and strangely tender. Even his retreat must be framed in someone else's poetry. Granny's reaction to the flight is pure Irene Ryan, even in the brief space the script allows her here. She interprets his departure as self-sacrifice. Bug Tussle needs him more than she does. The line is delivered with that mixture of pride and resignation that Ryan could summon in a single breath. I have always felt that Granny, more than any other character, understands the cost of being needed. Her willingness to release the mayor without bitterness feels consistent with the deep, practical romanticism she has always carried beneath the volcanic temper. She does not chase him. She simply rewrites the story into one she can live with. The great man has chosen duty over personal happiness. In that rewriting, she preserves both his dignity and her own. What moves me most in this entire misunderstanding is the complete absence of humiliation as a narrative goal. Many comedies would have lingered on the mayor's panic or on the family's foolishness for the sake of a harder laugh. The Beverly Hillbillies chooses instead to linger on the sincerity of the error. The Clampetts are wrong about the mayor's intentions, yet their wrongness reveals something admirable about their own hearts. They are people who default to love stories. In a decade increasingly fascinated by anti-heroes and moral ambiguity, that default feels almost radical. I often think about how this sequence functions as a hinge in the larger composite narrative. Up to this point, the mayor has been a visitor of uncertain weight, part fraud, part figure of genuine if misplaced nostalgia. After the romantic misunderstanding and his abrupt departure, he becomes something more poignant, a man who could not bear to be seen clearly by the only people still capable of seeing him as larger than his faults. His flight is comic, yes. It is also the only form of integrity left to him. He will not take their money under false romantic pretenses, and he will not destroy their image of him by telling the truth. The only door remaining is the one that leads back to Bug Tussle and the long lonely performance of being the greatest hog in the hills. As the official car disappears and the family stands in the mild confusion of an interrupted love story, I feel again the deep affection that keeps bringing me back to these episodes. The Clampetts have been mistaken, spectacularly so. Yet their mistake has done no one any lasting harm. It has, if anything, allowed the mayor a more graceful exit than he deserved. And it has allowed us, the audience, one more glimpse of a household that still believes the most plausible explanation for human awkwardness is the presence of love. That belief feels each time I encounter it like a small gift from a more generous era of popular storytelling. The silver-tongued orator has fled. The candidate has withdrawn. The romantic theory has collapsed under the weight of reality. And still, the Clampetts remain themselves, ready to rewrite disappointment into dignity, ready to let a man keep the heroism they once projected onto him. In the soft aftermath of the misunderstanding, I find myself oddly grateful to Amos Wentworth Hogg. By running, he preserved something in the Clampetts that the truth might have damaged. And the show in its wisdom lets that preservation stand as its own quiet form of grace. Granny's complaint, retirement research, and the burden of age. There are few moments in the entire run of the Beverly Hillbillies that touch me as directly as the one in which Granny calls the family into the parlor and announces that she is taking in her shingle. I still remember the first time I watched it. The laughter that had carried us through the mayor's visit suddenly quieted, and in its place came something rarer in the series, a stillness that felt almost like reverence. Irene Ryan stands at the center of that stillness, and she fills it with a lifetime of accumulated authority. I suppose you're all wondering why I asked you here today, she begins, and even the rhythm of the line carries the weight of someone who has spent decades being the person others turn to when the world becomes painful or confusing. She reviews her record with the matter-of-fact pride of a country practitioner who has never needed a diploma to know her own worth, 70 years of healing and giving of herself. Bringing babies into the world, setting bones, mixing medicine, curing colds, making poultices, healing warts, rheumatism, summer complaints, chilblains. The list is both comic in its homely particularity and deeply moving in its cumulative force. When she declares that she is giving up her practice of medicine, the words land with the force of a genuine life decision. Hot Dog Jethro responds, "No more sulfur and molasses," and the laugh is real, yet it does not erase the gravity of what Granny has just set in motion. What follows is one of the most psychologically acute sequences the series ever attempted. Granny cannot yet bring herself to name the true reason for her retirement. She speaks first of research of returning to the hills where the materials she needs are available, of finding a cure for freckles. The freckles are a transparent placeholder and Jed knows it. Buddy Ebsen plays the gentle pressing with exquisite care. You don't give two shucks about curing freckles. The line is soft, almost tender. He is not accusing her of lying so much as inviting her to tell a larger truth. And eventually, with the reluctance of someone admitting a private fear into the open air, she has discovered a brand new ailment. It is not in any of the books, so she gets to name it. She is calling it Granny's complaint. The symptoms are listed with the precise, unsentimental clarity that Ryan always brought to Granny's medical pronouncements. Her hearing is not what it used to be. Her eyes are getting weaker, her rheumatism is worse, she cannot run as fast as she once could, she gets chilled more easily, her joints are stiff in the morning. And then the devastating addition: Jed recognizes every one of those symptoms in himself. It's catching, he says. Of course it's catching. It's old age. Granny's refusal to accept that diagnosis remains for me one of the most poignant acts of character in the entire series. Not old age, it's Granny's complaint. I discovered it, I get to name it. In that insistence I hear something larger than comic stubbornness. I hear a woman who has spent a lifetime being useful suddenly confronted with the possibility that usefulness itself has an expiration date. To call the condition old age would be to accept a narrative of inevitable decline. To call it Granny's complaint is to keep it inside the realm of problems that still might be solved by research, by roots and powders and the right combination of stump water and will. I have never been able to watch this exchange without feeling a deep protective ache for her. The mid-1960s context gives the sequence additional resonance. This was an era when American culture was beginning to talk more openly about aging, when the first large generation of retirees was negotiating new identities outside of work, when the medical establishment was gaining unprecedented authority over the body. Granny's fierce attachment to her own diagnostic power feels in that light like a form of resistance. She will not hand her decline over to the city doctors and their moldy bread medicines. She will name it herself, research it herself, and if necessary cure it herself in the hills where her knowledge was first formed. The stubbornness is comic. It is also quietly heroic. Jed's response is pure Ebsen, calm, affectionate, unwilling to strip her of the story she needs. He does not mock the new disease. He simply offers the more ordinary name and then with characteristic grace steps back. The deeper conflict is left intact. Granny will continue to believe that what is happening to her body is a specific, nameable, potentially reversible complaint. The family will continue to love her through the belief. That arrangement feels to me like one of the show's most mature insights into how families actually handle the slow arrival of age. We do not always confront the truth head-on. Sometimes, we make room for the necessary fiction that keeps dignity alive. The practical consequences follow quickly. Granny will take her share of the money. Jethro has ciphered it at about $16 million and return to the hills to begin her research. The sum is spoken with the same casual enormity that the series always brought to the Clampett fortune. Yet for once the money feels secondary. What matters is the image of Granny packing up her lifetime of mountain medicine and carrying it back to the place where it still makes sense. I find myself moved by the sheer consistency of her character. She has never belonged entirely to Beverly Hills. The mansion has been a temporary encampment. The real laboratory has always been the woods and the roots and the old knowledge that city doctors dismiss as superstition. As this movement of the story settles over me again, I realize how carefully the writers prepared the emotional ground. The mayor's visit with its themes of public performance and private failure has left the household in a state of heightened sensitivity to questions of usefulness and legacy. Granny's announcement arrives as both a break from that story and a deepening of its central concerns. If Amos Hogg was terrified of ceasing to be a hero, Granny is terrified of ceasing to be necessary. The parallel is never underlined, yet it resonates through every line. I watch these scenes now with the added weight of my own years. The symptoms Granny lists are no longer abstract. They are the ordinary weather of aging, the same weather that arrives sooner or later for anyone lucky enough to live long enough to receive it. Her refusal to call that weather by its common name feels less like denial and more like a final assertion of authorship over her own story. She will not be a passive patient in someone else's diagnosis, she will be the discoverer, the name of the researcher who refuses to close the book. In that refusal I continue to find something fierce and admirable and deeply human. The parlor grows quiet after the announcement. The family sits with the new reality. Somewhere outside the mansion the city continues its indifferent business. Inside, a woman who has spent 70 years stitching the small tears in other people's lives is preparing to turn her attention to the slow tear in her own. The comedy will return soon enough, the attempts to train successors, the collision with modern medicine, the elaborate schemes to keep her from leaving. But for this suspended moment the show simply lets us sit with Granny's complaint and the complicated love that surrounds it. I am grateful for the pause. It is one of the reasons these episodes have never left me. Training the next generation, Dr. Clyburn, skunk root and mountain medicine. I have always felt a special tenderness for the sequences in which Granny attempts to pass on her life's work. There is something both comic and quietly heartbreaking in the image of Irene Ryan standing in the mansion's upstairs room pointing to a chart or a pot, or a bewildered student and declaring that the traditions of the Hippocratic Oath, or as she memorably renames it, the Hypocrite's Oath, must continue. The moment she realizes that neither Jethro nor Ellie Mae is a willing vessel for her knowledge is one I still feel in my chest. Jethro wants to be a soda jerk or a brain surgeon depending on the hour. Ellie Mae wants only to care for her critters. Their gentle refusals are played without cruelty, yet they leave Granny standing in the sudden silence of a teacher who has discovered that the next generation has chosen other gods. It is at this vulnerable point that Dr. Roy Clyburn enters the story, and with him one of the richest culture clash comedies the series ever constructed. Fred Clark plays the city doctor with a perfect blend of professional disdain and reluctant fascination. When he is first prevailed upon by Mr. Drysdale to seek Granny's advice purely to make her feel needed and thereby keep her millions in the bank, the arrangement is pure farce. Yet the scenes that follow refuse to stay at the level of simple mockery. Granny takes the request seriously. She always does. I realized this morning that I have been too hasty in not taking advantage of having close at hand one with such great experience and knowledge. The doctor begins and Ryan receives the flattery with the wary dignity of someone who has spent a lifetime being underestimated by men with certificates on their walls. What follows is a masterclass in the collision of two medical cosmologies. Granny begins the examination of her new pupil with a battery of questions that still make me laugh aloud in recognition and delight. How does he treat spotted dimple? What does he do with purple drowsies? How about critter bite? The doctor, trained in the language of scientific nomenclature, is immediately lost. I know them by their scientific names, he protests. Them is the scientific name, Granny replies. And the line lands with the full force of a worldview that has never needed Latin to be precise. In that single exchange, the entire philosophy of mountain medicine asserts itself. Knowledge is not what is written in the books of distant universities. Knowledge is what works when a child is burning with fever or a man has been torn by an animal in the woods. I have returned to these lessons many times over the years, and each time I am struck by how carefully the writers avoid reducing Granny to pure superstition. Her methods are homely, sometimes alarming, often comic: skunk root, dyspepsy potion stump, water slippery elm ooze, raccoon root sassafras and the mighty wahoo bark, but they are grounded in a lifetime of empirical observation. When Dr. Clyburn proudly offers penicillin, explaining that it is derived from bread mold, Granny's contempt is absolute. Roy, you've got to forget them home remedies, he insists. It is not a home remedy, he replies, only to be met with her withering instruction to abandon the quack medicines of the modern age, and return to the true science of the hills. The inversion is complete and glorious. In Granny's classroom, the university-trained physician is the superstitious one, placing his faith in moldy bread while the real remedies bubble in the kettle downstairs. The anatomy lesson remains one of my favorite bits of physical comedy in the entire series. Now we're gonna take up anatomy. Pay attention. About here is your gizzard. The word gizzard applied to human anatomy is already enough to break me up, yet Ryan delivers it with such pedagogical seriousness that the laugh becomes layered. She is not performing ignorance. She is performing a coherent alternative system of knowledge. One in which the body is understood through the animals one has cleaned and cooked and cured for decades. Max Baer Jr. and Donna Douglas pressed into service as reluctant classmates react with the perfect mixture of filial respect and private horror. Their faces become a silent chorus of commentary on the proceedings, and I never tire of watching them. Beneath the comedy, however, runs a current of genuine pathos that the show never quite lets us forget. Granny is not training a successor merely for the sake of tradition. She is trying to create a reason to stay useful, and beyond that, a reason to believe that the knowledge she has carried so long will not die with her. When she finally decides that Dr. Clyburn is the one to take over her practice and hands him her patient file containing, as she admits, only Jed Jethro and Ellie Mae, the moment is both absurd and deeply touching. The file is thin because the city has never truly needed her. The act of handing it over is an act of hope that someone, even a skeptical city doctor, might yet carry the work forward. Mr. Drysdale's frantic machinations to keep the lessons going, turning up the heat until Miss Hathaway is ready to collapse, scheming to produce actual patients, even floating the idea of mild poison or a carefully broken bone, add the necessary layer of urban desperation. Raymond Bailey plays these schemes with the sweaty intensity of a man who understands that Granny's departure would mean the departure of millions. Yet even Drysdale's greed cannot fully obscure the larger emotional stakes. Everyone in his or her own way is trying to keep Granny from sliding into the irrelevance she fears. The methods are ridiculous. The underlying care is not. I often think about how these scenes must have played for audiences in 1967. Many of whom still had grandparents who treated burns with butter and colds with onion syrup. The collision between mountain medicine and modern pharmacology was not abstract, it was the story of American families in real time. The Beverly Hillbillies staged that collision with more affection and less condescension than most dramas of the period. It allowed Granny to be wrong about penicillin and still be right about the deeper human need to remain necessary. It allowed Dr. Clyburn to be right about science and still be humbled by the force of a personality that had never required a license to heal. As the kettle of skunk root potion bubbles and the upstairs classroom fills with the strange perfume of Granny's complaint cure, I find myself once again moved by the sheer stubborn vitality of Irene Ryan's performance. She plays a woman who refuses to accept that her time of usefulness is over, and she plays her with such conviction that I cannot help rooting for the impossible research project. Let the city doctors keep their mold and their Latin. Granny has roots to boil and a disease to conquer and a lifetime of practical miracles to defend. In the space between the gizzard and the penicillin, between the patient file with 3 names and the vast indifference of Beverly Hills, the show finds one of its most enduring truths, that the need to matter does not retire when the body begins to slow. It only grows more fierce and more tender and more worth defending. Drysdale's desperate schemes, keeping Granny and her millions in Beverly Hills. I have never been able to watch Mr. Drysdale's increasingly frantic efforts to keep Granny from leaving Beverly Hills without feeling a complicated mixture of laughter and something close to pity. Raymond Bailey played the banker as a man whose entire nervous system was wired directly to the Clampett account, and in these sequences that wiring begins to short-circuit in the most gloriously desperate ways. The moment he realizes that Granny's retirement might mean the withdrawal of her $16 million, the polished surface of Commerce Bank professionalism cracks, and what emerges is pure unfiltered panic dressed up as strategic ingenuity. I still remember the first time I saw these scenes as a boy, and found myself oddly moved by the spectacle of a man who could not imagine his own life continuing if the Clampett money left the building. The schemes begin with a kind of dark comic logic that only Drysdale could invent. If Granny is leaving because she no longer feels needed, then the solution is simple: create need. Manufacture patients, produce suffering. The conversation in which he casually suggests that Miss Hathaway might take a mild poison or sustain a carefully arranged fracture remains one of the most outrageous moments of character comedy in the entire series. Who's talking about a fake? I'm only asking you to take a mild poison or break a bone or something, Nancy says. Look, I could drop this on your foot, The line is delivered with the breezy confidence of a man who has long since lost the ability to distinguish between loyalty to the bank and basic human decency. Nancy Culp's reaction is a masterclass in restrained horror. She does not scream. She simply looks at her employer as though seeing him clearly for the first time, and the look is enough. What follows is a cascade of increasingly baroque attempts to keep Granny tethered to the mansion. The air conditioning is turned to Arctic levels so that Miss Hathaway will appear to be suffering from exposure. The heat is later cranked up until the poor woman is ready to collapse from heat exhaustion. Each time Drysdale stands ready to steer the newly manufactured invalid straight into Granny's care. The physical comedy of these temperature extremes is played with perfect timing. Yet beneath the laughs runs a current of genuine pathos. Miss Hathaway, who has spent years translating Drysdale's greed into polite bank language, is now being used as a human thermostat in the service of that same greed. I have always felt a particular tenderness for her in these scenes. She is the one character who sees the full absurdity of the situation and still cannot quite bring herself to walk away. The recruitment of Dr. Clyburn adds another layer of moral complication. Drysdale does not merely ask the doctor to humor an old woman. He bribes him with the promise of $8 million for the Clyburn charity clinic. The transaction is naked. If you help me, I can arrange for Jed Clampett to donate the entire $8 million you need, and he won't care what you name the clinic. Fred Clark plays the doctor's surrender with the weary self-awareness of a man who knows he is trading professional dignity for a new wing and a plaque. I'll do it, but I'm only doing it so the sick and needy will get help that much sooner. The rationalization is transparent, and the show allows us to sit with its transparency. In the mid-1960s, when large-scale philanthropy was increasingly entangled with public relations and tax strategy, the scene carried a satirical edge that still feels sharp. I often think about how these schemes reflect the deeper terror that money has always inspired in Drysdale. The Clampett fortune is not merely an account, it is the foundation of his identity. Without it, he is simply another Beverly Hills banker vulnerable to the same market forces and social judgments he has spent his career managing for others. Granny's threatened departure therefore registers as an existential threat. His response is not the calm calculation of a financier but the flailing improvisation of a man watching his world tilt. The mild poison, the strategic fractures, the weaponized thermostat, the charitable bribe, all of it is the behavior of someone who has lost the ability to imagine a future in which the Clampetts are not safely deposited in his vault. The comedy reaches a kind of frenzied peak when the manufactured illnesses begin to collide with Granny's actual medical practice. Patients appear to appear. Dr. Clyburn is pressed into service as both student and decoy. The mansion becomes a temporary clinic staffed by people who are only pretending to need care so that one old woman will continue to feel necessary. The ethical inversion is complete and glorious. In most stories, the banker would be the voice of modern rationality against rural superstition. Here the banker is the one inventing suffering, while the mountain doctor is the only person in the house still operating from a consistent moral position. I have always loved the show for allowing that inversion to stand without correction. What moves me most in these sequences is the way Irene Ryan plays Granny's response to the sudden influx of attention. She does not detect the fraud, or at least she does not let on that she detects it. She simply does what she has always done. She shows up with her roots and her potions and her absolute conviction that the body can be persuaded back into balance. There is a moment when she hands Dr. Clyburn her patient file 3 names. The entire Clampett family, and the gesture carries more dignity than all of Drysdale's elaborate constructions combined. She is still trying to pass something on. He is still trying to keep something from leaving. The difference in their motivations feels to me like the difference between love and appetite. As the schemes multiply and the temperature controls are abused and the charity clinic is dangled like a glittering lure, I find myself reflecting on the larger American story these scenes quietly illuminate. The mid-1960s were years of enormous institutional growth, new clinics, new foundations, new mechanisms for moving large sums of money under the banner of public good. The Beverly Hillbillies stages a miniature version of that world inside a single banker's panic. Drysdale is willing to create illness in order to fund a clinic that will treat illness. The circularity is both absurd and uncomfortably familiar. The show never lectures us about it. It simply lets the banker sweat and the doctor rationalize and the secretary suffer and the old woman continue to believe that her work still matters. I watch these scenes now with the added perspective of years in which I have seen more than one institution invent crises in order to justify its own continuation. Drysdale's desperation no longer feels like pure farce. It feels like a recognizable human response to the terror of becoming unnecessary. That the response is channeled through thermostats and mild poisons and $8 million bribes only makes it more revealing. The tools are ridiculous. The fear is not. And yet the show never entirely condemns him. Bailey plays Drysdale with enough residual humanity that we understand the panic even as we laugh at its expressions. He is not a monster. He is a man whose entire sense of self has been organized around the safe containment of other people's wealth. When that containment is threatened, he does what organisms do: he fights, he schemes, he improvises, he offers whatever he has to offer, including the temporary suffering of the people closest to him. The moral cost is high, the psychological transparency is higher still. By the time the schemes begin to collapse under their own weight when Granny dismisses Dr. Clyburn as a superstitious quack who puts his faith in moldy bread when the manufactured patients fail to materialize in sufficient numbers when the temperature tricks become too obvious to sustain, I feel a strange tenderness for the whole desperate apparatus. It was always going to fail. Granny's sense of usefulness was never going to be satisfied by fake fevers and strategic chills. What she needed was not the appearance of need but the reality of continuing to matter on her own terms. Drysdale could manufacture symptoms, he could not manufacture meaning. In the aftermath of these failed schemes, the mansion feels temporarily quieter as though the house itself is catching its breath. The banker has exhausted his most creative cruelties, the doctor has returned to his own world with his dignity somewhat intact, and his clinic still unfunded. Miss Hathaway has survived another round of instrumentalization. And Granny remains what she has always been, a woman who will not be kept in place by other people's panic. The millions are still in play. The threat of departure still hangs in the air. But for a moment, the frantic machinery of retention has stopped, and in that stopping I find one of the show's most honest observations about money and love and the limits of control. I return to these sequences whenever I need to be reminded that comedy can look directly at desperation without losing its sense of humor or its sense of mercy. Drysdale's schemes are monstrous in conception and hilarious in execution. They are also in their sweaty, short-sighted way a form of attachment. He cannot bear to lose Granny because he cannot bear to lose what she represents. The show lets us laugh at the methods while still recognizing the very human fear that drives them. That double vision is one of the reasons these episodes have stayed with me for so long. They understand that the most extravagant follies are often built on the simplest of terrors, the terror of being left behind when the people who give our lives weight decide it is time to go. The Clampett curse, giving away $68 million. I have watched many scenes of sudden wealth and sudden loss in the long history of American comedy, but few have ever touched me as directly or as strangely as the moment when Jed Clampett decides that $68,415,000 is a burden too heavy to carry any longer. There is a particular quiet that settles over the story at this point, a quiet that feels different from the usual pauses between jokes. It is the quiet of people who have finally said out loud the thought that has been gathering in the corners of the mansion for years: the money is a curse. Granny is the first to give the feeling its name. Standing in the familiar chaos of the Clampett kitchen, surrounded by the evidence of a life that has become more complicated than either of them ever wanted, she speaks with the flat certainty of someone who has measured the cost and found it too high. The last time they got to go fishing was before the money. The last time they harvested a crop was before the money. The young ones are growing spoiled. The days are filled with papers to sign for Mr. Drysdale instead of honest work under an open sky. The money is a curse, Jed. It's a curse. If you didn't have it, you wouldn't be needing to do all of this. We'd be living where there was possums of plenty, and the young'uns wouldn't be so spoiled that they lice carsing. Every time I hear Irene Ryan deliver those lines, I feel the accumulated weight of 5 television seasons settling into a single plain-spoken verdict. The fortune that was supposed to liberate them has instead become a new kind of confinement. Jed's response is pure Buddy Ebsen measured, thoughtful, already halfway toward a decision that most men would find unthinkable. He does not argue. He does not defend the comforts the money has bought. He simply absorbs the truth of what Granny has said and begins to look for a way to set the burden down. In my own long relationship with the series, this quality of Jed's has always struck me as his most radical, the ability to treat even $68 million as something that can be evaluated on moral rather than financial terms. Most stories about sudden wealth are stories about people learning to want more. The Beverly Hillbillies at this pivotal moment becomes a story about people learning to want less. The arrival of Virginia Jennings and her two fellow students from the university provides the perfect instrument for the release. They come first to Drysdale armed with the transparent flattery of the Friends of Plato and the request for funds to help impoverished students finish their education. Drysdale's dismissal of them is pure commerce bank. A small loan for food and shelter is already more than he is inclined to give. And the suggestion that they apply to play dough is delivered with the dry contempt of a man who has never mistaken philosophy for collateral. The girls leave his office hungry and undeterred. One of them remembers an old millionaire named Clampett she once interviewed for a term paper. The decision to try the mansion instead of the bank is made with the casual optimism of youth that has not yet learned how rarely such doors open. What happens next still feels, even after many viewings, like a small miracle of tone. Jed receives the young woman with the same open courtesy he would have shown any visitor. When she explains that she represents NEADA, the National Establishment for Educating Deserving Youth, he listens as though the acronym itself carries moral weight. And then, with the calm of a man who has finally found a use for the thing that has been troubling his sleep, he says the words that change everything. Sounds like an outfit could use $68,415,000. Young lady, step in the kitchen. I'm gonna write you a check. I can still remember the sensation of watching that moment for the first time. The sheer scale of the gift, the absence of hesitation, the complete lack of negotiation or conditions, all of it ran against every narrative expectation I had formed about money on television. Most characters who write large checks do so with a flourish or a lecture, or a visible awareness of their own generosity. Jed writes the check the way another man might hand a stranger a cup of water. The act is not performed for an audience. It is performed because the alternative, continuing to own something that has begun to feel like a moral injury, has become unbearable. The reactions inside the mansion are a study in the different ways people process sudden freedom. Granny's face as she understands what Jed has done carries the light of someone who has been holding her breath for years and has finally been given permission to exhale. Jethro's response is more complicated. Max Baer Jr. plays the boy's dawning comprehension that the high standard of living he has grown used to is about to vanish with a perfect mixture of panic and wounded dignity. What's a sophisticated, educated playboy like me gonna do around all them hog wrestlers back home? The line is funny, yet it also reveals how completely the money has rewritten Jethro's sense of himself. He has begun to believe in the version of Jethro that Beverly Hills made possible. The loss of the fortune is therefore not merely financial, it is existential. Ellie Mae, as always, takes the change with the least friction. Donna Douglas gives her a kind of luminous adaptability that suggests the money was never the point for her in the first place. The critters will still need feeding. The open air will still be there. The family's center of gravity has always lived closer to the ground than the balance sheet, and Ellie Mae simply adjusts her stance and keeps moving. And then there is Mr. Drysdale. Raymond Bailey's performance in the aftermath of the gift remains one of the great comic melts in television history. The man who has spent years treating the Clampett account as the foundation of his identity is forced to watch that foundation walk out the door in the form of a single piece of paper. His first response is denial, then a kind of glassy shock, then the full theatrical collapse. The scene in which he contemplates the big safety deposit box in the sky, the desk that is too heavy for Miss Hathaway to pull out from under him, the frantic pivot to the idea of pursuing the girl's account instead, all of it is played with a sweaty operatic intensity that somehow never loses its human core. I have always felt that Bailey understood something essential about Drysdale. The banker does not love money in the abstract. He loves the specific, irreplaceable fact of the Clampett millions resting in his vault. Their departure is not a business loss. It is a personal bereavement. What moves me most in this entire movement of the story is the complete absence of regret on Jed and Granny's side. Once the check has been written, they do not second-guess the decision. They do not calculate what they might have kept. They simply begin to pack. The mansion that has been their home for 5 years is treated with the practical courtesy of people who always understood it was borrowed. They want to leave it looking the way they found it. The line is small, almost throwaway. Yet it carries the full moral weight of their character. Even in the act of abandoning a fortune, they remain careful stewards of what was never entirely theirs. I often think about how this episode must have landed in January of 1967 in a country that was beginning to question the costs of its own prosperity. The war was escalating. The cities were restless. The gap between official abundance and private unease was widening. Into that moment, the Beverly Hillbillies released a story about people who looked at $68 million and decided the price of keeping it had become too high. The decision is comic in its scale and its suddenness. It is also in its quiet way one of the more radical acts of renunciation that popular American television had ever staged. The joy that follows the giving is what finally convinces me of the scene's deeper truth. Jed and Granny do not merely endure the loss of the fortune, they celebrate it. "We is plumb broke and I've never been so happy in my whole life." The line is spoken with the lightness of people who have put down a pack that had been cutting into their shoulders for years. I have known that feeling in smaller ways, the relief of walking away from something that looked like success from the outside, and felt like slow suffocation from within. The show captures it without sentimentality and without apology. Being broke for the Clamperts is not a tragedy. It is a return to a version of themselves that the money had begun to obscure. As they load the truck and prepare to leave the only mansion most of America would have been thrilled to inhabit, I feel again the strange inverted grandeur of the gesture. They are not rejecting wealth because they are noble. They are rejecting it because it has failed to deliver the one thing they actually wanted: a life that feels like their own. The $68 million bought them a beautiful cage. The act of giving it away is the act of opening the door, and in the soft light of that decision, the Clamperts become for a moment something rarer than millionaires. They become free. The check has cleared. The account is empty. The curse for the time being has been lifted. And somewhere on the road toward the hills, a family that has just given away a fortune is laughing with the uncomplicated relief of people who have finally remembered how little they needed it in the first place. I watch them go with the same mixture of amusement and admiration I have felt since the first time I saw it. In a culture that teaches us to accumulate, the Clamperts performed the opposite miracle. They subtracted, and in the subtraction they found a lightness that no balance sheet could ever have provided. Back to the woods, running out of gas and rediscovering freedom. I have always considered the sequence in which the Clamperts leave Beverly Hills with an empty bank account and a truck full of hope to be one of the most quietly radical passages in the entire series. There is no swelling music, no farewell speech from the mansion steps, no lingering shot of the empty cement pond. They simply finish packing, make sure the house looks the way they found it, and drive away. The simplicity of the departure is itself a kind of statement. After 5 years of navigating the strange customs of the rich, they exit with the same practical dignity they brought to every other task. I still feel a lift in my chest when the truck starts moving. It is the lift of watching people step out of a story that has become too tight and into one that might yet fit. The journey does not last long. The gas, as Jethro soon reports, is running on wishful thinking. Before they have even cleared the broader city limits, the tank is dry. The truck rolls to a stop in a patch of woods that turns out upon investigation to be still inside Los Angeles. The discovery might have been played as pure defeat. Instead, the show treats it as a strange and tender gift. Granny, who has been asleep in the back after loading the truck single-handed in 20 minutes flat, wakes to the sight of trees and dirt and open sky. Her joy is immediate and unreserved. "Oh, we're back in our woods, and so soon. Look how pretty everything looks here at home, nothing's changed a bit. I feel like a new person now that I'm here. Oh, I gotta kiss the ground, the passable, hallowed soil of my homeland." Irene Ryan delivers the lines with a fullness of feeling that transcends the comic premise. In that moment, she is not performing rural nostalgia. She is experiencing the actual relief of a body that has been tense for years finally allowed to stand on familiar ground. The fact that the ground is not strictly speaking home only deepens the beauty of the scene. Jed's gentle correction, "We ain't exactly home, strictly speaking we're still in Los Angeles," is met with Granny's magnificent dismissal, "Los Angeles poo." The two words carry more philosophical weight than many longer speeches. Place for Granny is not a matter of municipal boundaries. Place is the presence of dirt and trees and the possibility of living without the constant low-grade fever of other people's expectations. I have returned to that Los Angeles poo more times than I can count. It is my private shorthand for every occasion on which the official map of the world has failed to match the map of the heart. What follows is a soft, almost pastoral interlude in which the family begins to imagine a temporary life among these borrowed trees. Jed studies the possibility of sharecropping the land in exchange for enough gas to continue the journey. The idea is practical, humble, and completely consistent with the man he has always been. Even in the act of being stranded, he looks for a way to make himself useful to the ground beneath his feet. Buddy Ebsen plays the calculation with the same calm intelligence he has always brought to Jed's relationship with the natural world. Money was never his native language, work was. The woods, even these accidental woods, give him back a vocabulary he understands. Jethro's reaction provides the necessary counterpoint of comic resistance. Max Baer Jr. has always been superb at playing the boy who has tasted a higher standard of living and cannot easily spit it out. His declaration that he has become too sophisticated to live like a wild animal is delivered with wounded grandeur. The hands that might have swung an axe must be protected for the future careers of brain surgeon or soda jerk. The speech is ridiculous and strangely touching. In it I hear every young person who has ever mistaken a temporary elevation in comfort for a permanent change in identity. The money has been gone only a few hours and already Jethro is negotiating with the ghost of his former prospects. The show lets him have his moment of protest without crushing it. Jed simply listens, offers a quiet blessing, and lets the boy walk back toward the city if that is what he needs to do. The encounter with Ranger Warble adds a final layer of gentle absurdity to the interlude. The ranger's name itself, Warble, which Jed immediately notes sounds like a bird call, sets the tone for a conversation in which two completely different understandings of land collide. Jed explains their plan to clear a little ground and plant corn. The ranger stares at him as though he has proposed setting fire to a cathedral. The trees are not in the ranger's cosmology, a resource waiting to be converted into a crop, they are the point. The misunderstanding is pure Beverly Hillbillies geography. The same patch of earth contains two incompatible maps, and neither man can quite see the others. I have always loved the show for refusing to declare a winner in these collisions. Jed is not mocked for wanting to farm. The ranger is not mocked for wanting to preserve. They simply stand on the same dirt and discover that they are speaking different languages about what the dirt is for. As the family settles into the temporary camp, a soft transformation begins to take place. The frantic energy that has driven so much of their Beverly Hills life starts to drain away. Granny moves among the trees with the restored authority of someone who has returned to her proper scale. Ellie Mae, who has never needed a mansion to know who she is, simply adjusts to the new horizon and keeps watch over the critters and the people she loves. Even Jethro, for all his protests, cannot entirely resist the gravitational pull of a life that asks less of his performance and more of his hands. The Woods do not care about his unlisted telephone or his plans for a glamorous career. They care only whether he will pick up an axe or not. That indifference is its own form of freedom. I often think about the cultural moment in which this sequence first appeared. 1967 was a year of noise, political noise, cultural noise, the rising volume of a country arguing with itself about war and justice and the meaning of progress. Into that noise, the Beverly Hillbillies released an image of four people sitting quietly under trees they did not own, contemplating a life stripped back to work and weather and one another. The image was comic in its circumstances. It was also, in its quiet way, a countervision. While much of the culture was accelerating, the Clampetts were permitted to decelerate. While much of the culture was accumulating new desires, the Clampetts were permitted to remember the old ones. The Woods accidental as they are become a place where the frantic arithmetic of the previous years can finally stop. The joy Granny takes in the dirt itself remains the emotional center of the sequence for me. When she speaks of kissing the hallowed soil of her homeland, the line risks sentimentality and somehow never falls into it. Ryan plays the feeling with such unadorned conviction that I believe her completely. This is not a woman performing rustic nostalgia for an audience. This is a woman whose body has been waiting for the particular resistance of real ground under her feet. The mansion was never able to provide that resistance. The cement pond could not provide it. Only the woods, even these borrowed woods inside the city limits, can give her back the sensation of living at her proper density. As night begins to suggest itself among the trees and the family takes stock of their strange new circumstances, I feel again the deep affection that has always drawn me back to these episodes. They have given away a fortune, they have run out of gas. They have failed to reach the actual hills of home, and yet the dominant note is not failure. It is relief. The curse of the money has been lifted at least for the moment, and in its place has come the older, simpler difficulty of figuring out how to live through the next day with what they have. That difficulty feels to them and to me like a form of grace. The truck sits empty of fuel and full of possibility. The trees stand indifferent and welcoming at the same time. Somewhere beyond the park, the city continues its loud, expensive business. Inside the little circle of the Clampett camp, a different economy has taken hold, the economy of enough. I watch them settle into it with the same gratitude I have felt for years. In a story that began with the arrival of a fraudulent mayor and moved through the painful comedy of aging and the extravagant gesture of giving everything away, this pause in the accidental woods feels like the quiet heart of the whole journey. They did not make it home. But for a few luminous hours home agreed to meet them halfway. The money returns, relief, regret, and the weight of wealth. I have always felt that the return of the Clampett fortune is one of the most emotionally complex movements in the entire series, precisely because it refuses the simple shape of a happy ending. The money comes back, the account is restored. Mr. Drysdale weeps with relief. And yet the dominant note is not triumph. It is the quiet, reluctant acceptance of a burden that has once again proven too heavy to set down for good. Every time I reach this turn in the story, I feel the same complicated pressure in my chest, the pressure of watching people who have tasted freedom walk back into the beautiful cage because the alternative would cause more harm than it would relieve. The college girls are the instruments of the return, and the show handles them with a generosity that still surprises me. Virginia Jennings and her friends do not attempt to cash the check and disappear. They do not rationalize keeping the money as the natural spoils of a successful appeal. Instead, they look at the size of the gift, at the sudden luxury it has dropped into their lives, and they recognize with a clarity that does them credit that the fortune is already beginning to distort them. The Paris dresses, the expensive coat with the price tag still attached, the mansion itself, all of it feels to them like the early symptoms of a sickness they do not want to catch. If we kept this money, we'd be miserable for the rest of our lives. It just isn't fair. The line is spoken with the moral seriousness of young people who have not yet learned how to talk themselves out of their own best instincts. I have always admired the writers for allowing the girls this moment of integrity. They could have been played as comic opportunists. Instead, they become the unexpected conscience of the sequence. When they arrive back at the mansion to return the check, the Clampetts receive them without bitterness or relief. Jed's response is characteristic in its simplicity. The money was given freely. If it cannot be accepted freely, then it must come home. There is no lecture about responsibility, no attempt to force the gift upon them for their own good. He simply takes the burden back onto his own shoulders, because the alternative would be to let the girls carry a weight that is already visibly bending them. Buddy Ebsen plays the acceptance with the quiet gravity of a man who has never needed a fortune to know his own worth, and who therefore does not require applause for giving it up or taking it back. The decision costs him something. He lets us see the cost without ever asking us to pity him. Granny's reaction carries a different flavor of resignation. Irene Ryan has always been able to pack an entire philosophy into a single glance, and here the glance says everything. She had begun to breathe differently without the money, and now she must learn to breathe the old way again. Well, it was nice being broke while it lasted. The line is comic in its understatement and heartbreaking in its accuracy. For a few hours or days they had lived inside the lightness of having nothing left to manage. Now the papers will return. The signatures will return. The low-grade fever of ownership will settle back over the household like a familiar climate. She does not rage against the return, she simply notes with the dry precision of someone who has measured both conditions that the poorer version of their life had been the sweeter one. Jethro's position is more openly conflicted, and Max Baer Jr. plays the conflict with a transparency that keeps the character from becoming merely foolish. He has already begun to imagine a future in which the Day Y organization supports him in the style to which he has grown accustomed. The return of the money to the family account closes that particular door and reopens the older, less glamorous one. His disappointment is real, so is his eventual acceptance. In the small arc of his reaction, I see every young person who has ever watched a windfall approach and then recede, leaving behind the same self that existed before the fantasy arrived. The show lets him feel the loss without mocking the feeling. That restraint has always seemed to me one of its most consistent mercies. And then there is Mr. Drysdale. Raymond Bailey's performance in the restoration sequence is a comic area of emotional whiplash. Only hours earlier he had been contemplating the big safety deposit box in the sky and instructing Miss Hathaway to pull the desk out from under him. Now the fortune is walking back through his door, and the transformation is instantaneous and total. The tears of despair become tears of gratitude. The suicide rhetoric is abandoned mid-sentence. The man who could not imagine life without the Clampett account is suddenly riotously alive again. I have never been able to watch The Swing without laughing, and I have never been able to watch it without feeling a small unexpected tenderness for him. Drysdale's love for the money is grotesque in its intensity, yet it is also the purest thing about him. He does not pretend to higher motives, he simply loves the specific irreplaceable fact of those millions resting where he can see them. Their return is not a financial event. It is a resurrection. What gives the sequence its lasting power for me is the way the show refuses to let the restoration feel like a simple correction of an earlier mistake. The giving away of the fortune was not an error, it was a genuine moral insight. The taking of it back is not a triumph. It is a concession to the complicated reality that even unwanted wealth has consequences for others. The girls cannot keep it without being damaged, Drysdale cannot lose it without being destroyed. The Clampetts, who wanted only to set the burden down, discover that the burden is attached to more lives than their own. In that discovery, the story reaches a maturity that many comedies never attempt. Freedom, it turns out, is not always available for the asking. Sometimes the most ethical choice is to remain inside the cage because opening the door would injure the people standing nearest to it. I often think about the cultural resonance of this movement in early 1967. America was deep in an era of public abundance and private unease. Great society programs were expanding the definition of what the country owed its citizens, while the war and the cities were revealing the limits of what money alone could solve. Into that moment, the Beverly Hillbillies offered a story about people who tried to give away a fortune because it had begun to feel like a moral injury. Only to discover that the fortune had become a kind of public utility. Too many other lives were now entangled in its existence for it to be set down cleanly. The insight is comic in its circumstances and unexpectedly sober in its implications. The Clampetts are not allowed to become pure, they are required to remain responsible. The final image of the sequence lingers with me longer than any individual joke. The check has been restored to the account. The girls have left with their integrity intact and their wardrobe returned to its original modest scale. Drysdale has been pulled back from the emotional brink. And the Clampetts stand once more inside the familiar weight of their wealth, knowing now with a clarity they did not possess before exactly how heavy it is. They do not celebrate, they do not despair. They simply adjust their shoulders and keep standing. In that adjustment I see the quiet heroism that has always defined them for me. They are willing to carry what they would rather put down because putting it down would hurt someone else. The money is a curse. They have said so themselves. And still they pick it up again, not because they have forgotten the curse but because they have remembered the people who would be struck by its lifting. I watch the restoration now with the same mixture of amusement and ache that I felt when I first encountered it. The fortune has come home. The cage has closed again softly without visible bars. And somewhere inside the mansion, a family that has briefly known the lightness of being broke begins the long work of learning how to breathe under the old weight once more. The show does not ask us to believe that this is a happy ending. It only asks us to believe that it is a true one. In that truthfulness, I continue to find something rare and valuable and deeply moving. The Clampetts tried to set themselves free. The world in its complicated mercy would not quite let them. And in the space between the attempt and the return, the series offers one of its most enduring observations about wealth, that the hardest thing about a fortune is not getting it or even giving it away. The hardest thing is discovering that you are no longer the only person who has to live with the consequences of either choice.